Chapter 216. Both of you, please rise. Ling Xiao smiled and raised his hand. Instantly, a strong force lifted Madame Leng and Leng Feng up, preventing them from kneeling any further. Madame Leng's eyes revealed a trace of shock. She could sense that Ling Xiao was only 15 or 16 years old and his cultivation was only at LV4 Dragon Tiger realm. However, he was able to lift her and Leng Feng, who were both grandmasters, up from such a distance. This was simply shocking. Madame Leng, the poison in your body has been neutralized. You just need to rest for a while and you will be fully recovered. Congratulations. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He gestured for the two of them to sit down and ordered the maids to serve tea. It's all thanks to your highness that I am still alive. I have a favor to ask of you today and I hope that your highness will agree to it. Madame Leng looked pleading. Oh. What is it, Madame Leng? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Madame Leng glanced at Leng Feng and said, Feng, kneel down. Leng Feng immediately got up and knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. Your highness, Leng Feng was saved by your highness, and Leng Feng's mother was also saved by your highness. Leng Feng is unable to repay your highness's kindness, even if I work like an ox or a horse. I only hope that your highness will allow Leng Feng to follow by your highness' side. Leng Feng said solemnly as he stared at Ling Xiao. Your highness, Feng, is talented. If your highness can nurture him, it will be his blessing. He will definitely be loyal to your highness and will not hesitate to die for your highness. We are unable to repay your highness's kindness to our Leng family. This is the only way to repay your highness's kindness. We hope that your highness will not reject our request. Madame Leng said sincerely. Ling Xiao tapped his fingers on the table and his eyes seemed to be shining with a golden light. He looked straight at Leng Feng as though he wanted to see through his heart. Leng Feng looked calm. Although he had a cold temperament, the sincerity in his eyes did not seem to be fake. Leng Feng, the path I'm taking is not one of wealth or power, but the path to the peak of the martial path, which is destined to be filled with mountains of corpses and seas of blood, filled with danger. With your talent, if you were to stay in the great desolation ancient kingdom, it's not impossible for you to be conferred the title of duke in the future. But if you follow me, there will be countless dangers, even life-threatening. If that's the case, are you still willing to follow me? Ling Xiao stood up, and a thick and majestic aura emanated from his body. In his eyes, there was a trace of vicissitudes that did not match his age. His eyes flashed with a sharp light, and there was an indescribable domineering and majestic aura that came pressing down on Leng Feng. Although Ling Xiao's words were indifferent, they contained a power that questioned one's heart, causing Leng Feng to feel an immense pressure. It was as if he was facing a supreme martial artist who could sweep through the world. Leng Feng did not hesitate at all. His eyes were bright as he said firmly, Your Highness, I have two great wishes in this life. The first is to wipe out the Chen family and avenge my father. The second is to step onto the peak of the martial path and pursue the secrets of heaven and earth. As for the so-called dangers, I don't care at all. I am willing to follow your highness and step onto the peak of the martial path to take a look. Leng Feng's heart was very firm, and at the same time, he felt a sense of excitement that he had not felt in a long time. Ling Xiao's words resonated with him, and at this moment, his gaze towards Ling Xiao was not only filled with gratitude, but also with respect. Good, very good. Ha ha ha. I didn't misjudge you. Leng Feng, get up. From now on, you will be my sword attendant. Don't call me your highness, call me young master. Ling Xiao solemnly helped Leng Feng up. His eyes were filled with admiration, and he laughed heartily. Yes, young master. Leng Feng replied seriously. When he was speaking just now, not only did he use all his mental strength, but he also used the secret spiritual skill to interrogate one's soul. He wanted to see if Leng Feng's heart of the martial path was really firm. If Leng Feng had hesitated for a moment during his answer just now, he would have been eliminated by Ling Xiao. The result made him feel very gratified. Ling Feng's heart of the martial path was extremely firm, and he did not waste his shocking talent. Furthermore, Madame Ling was also very smart. She knew that Ling Xiao had saved Ling Feng and spent so much effort to heal her because he had taken a liking to Ling Feng. Hence, when Madame Ling woke up, he immediately came to the Demon King's residence. Ling Feng, do you know why I value you so much? Ling Xiao smiled faintly, and his tone also became casual. Ling Feng doesn't know. Ling Feng shook his head, and a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. He was not stupid and naturally knew that Ling Xiao had saved him because he valued him. However, although his posture was not bad, it was still a far cry from Ling Xiao's. Ling Xiao was a peerless demon who could suppress Shi Tian Luo when he was in the Dragon Tiger realm. Ling Feng's talent was nothing in front of him. What did Ling Xiao see in him? Even Madame Ling showed a curious look. Because you are a bloodline warrior. Ling Xiao smiled and said. Bloodline warrior. Hearing these 4 words, Ling Feng and Madame Ling trembled, and a trace of disbelief appeared in their eyes. When a martial artist cultivated the martial path, their talents could be categorized as trash, normal, genius, demon, king, young paragon, and born god. However, most people only had normal talents. Those with high talents could be called geniuses and geniuses. For example, the 5 young masters of the capital could be called geniuses. Regardless of whether it was their comprehension or cultivation speed, they were far superior to their peers. As for bloodline warriors, they were passed down from ancient times. They were either passed down from powerful humans, or passed down from legendary ferocious beasts. Their bloodline contained a trace of the power of inheritance, and their talents were heaven-defying. Not only did bloodline warriors cultivate at an extremely fast speed, but they also possessed some kind of special ability that allowed them to explode with combat power that far exceeded their peers. The talents of bloodline warriors were at least at the level of a demon. That shouldn't be possible, right? Young master, I don't feel anything special about my bloodline. Ling Feng asked in confusion. That's because your bloodline hasn't awakened. Your bloodline is extremely powerful. It's the legendary Heavenly Blade bloodline. In ancient times, there was a Blade Emperor who possessed the Heavenly Blade bloodline. He created the 10 Annihilation Slash, and he once went against the odds and killed paragons as a monarch. He shocked the world. Ling Xiao smiled, and there was a trace of admiration in his eyes. The Heavenly Blade bloodline was born for the blade. It had an innate perception of the blade Dao, and it was extremely terrifying. For example, although Ling Feng had yet to awaken the Heavenly Saber bloodline, he had managed to create the 9th saber move of the Azura Saber art, a peerless Xian-ranked martial art. He had upgraded the saber art to a low-grade D-ranked martial art, allowing him to defeat Qin Feng Dao. Once Ling Feng's Heavenly Blade bloodline was completely awakened, he would definitely be able to erupt with even more terrifying strength. Take Li Ling for example. After his Heavenly Blade bloodline was awakened, it allowed him to break through to the Sky Human realm and reach the Heart Illuminated realm. His combat power was unparalleled. It could be said that the Heavenly Blade bloodline and the Heavenly Blade bloodline were Ling Zhao's greatest gains in the capital. Once Li Ling and Ling Feng grew up, they would even have the peerless talent to become paragons. Chapter 217. Heavenly Blade Bloodline. Madame Ling was shocked. Although she knew that Ling Xiao valued Ling Feng, she did not expect Ling Feng to have such a powerful bloodline. Young master, is there a way to awaken the Heavenly Blade bloodline in my body? Ling Feng's eyes also revealed a trace of anticipation. Of course. Ling Xiao smiled and said, since you are following me, I will naturally unlock the bloodline shackles for you. I am also looking forward to the complete awakening of your Heavenly Blade bloodline. The Heavenly Blade bloodline in Ling Feng's body had already shown signs of awakening. Otherwise, Ling Xiao would not have been able to detect the aura of the Heavenly Blade bloodline in Ling Feng's body through the battle between Ling Feng and Qin Feng Dao. However, it was not easy to completely awaken the Heavenly Blade bloodline. Fortunately, Ling Xiao knew the method to awaken the heavenly blade bloodline. Ling Feng, do you know what the Tao of Blade is? Ling Xiao looked at Ling Feng and smiled faintly. Tao of Blade? Ling Feng was slightly stunned and said, Young master, although I practice blade skills, I feel that I am only at the beginner level of blade skills. I am still very far from the Tao of Blade. I know that my blade is a blade of slaughter. Once the blade is unsheathed, it will go forward with no regrets. It will definitely return with blood. Ling Feng, although you are not completely right, you are right about one thing. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. The aura around him became incomparably sharp in an instant. It was like an unsheathed blade, sharp and full of murderous intent. The Tao of Blade is the Tao of slaughter. Blade users live to kill. When you can use the blade in your hand and understand the true meaning of slaughter, you will have stepped into the Tao of Blade. When you can completely let go of the blade in your heart, you will be able to achieve great success in the Tao of Blade. Remember what I said. Ling Xiao said slowly, and there was a strange fluctuation in his voice. Ling Xiao was the sky-devouring supreme in his previous life. Although he did not have a deep understanding of the Tao of Blade, he was able to understand everything. His view of the Tao of Blade went straight to the core. The so-called Saber Tao was the Tao of slaughter. Ling Xiao was imparting to Ling Feng a certain philosophy. Saber techniques were easy to obtain, but Saber Tao was difficult to obtain. He was teaching Ling Feng so that he could plant the seed of Saber Tao in Ling Feng's heart. One day, when Ling Feng truly understood the true meaning of Saber Tao, he would be able to unleash the true power of the Heavenly Blade bloodline. Saber Tao, the Tao of slaughter. Young master, I'll remember this. Ling Feng's eyes revealed a hint of understanding, but he still replied seriously. Alright, from now on, you and Madame Leng can live in Demon Lord's mansion. Since you defeated Chen Fengdao this time, it's inevitable that he will send people to make trouble for you in desperation. I'd like to see if he dares to cause trouble in my mansion. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Thank you, young master. Ling Feng's eyes revealed a trace of gratitude, but his face also revealed a hesitant expression. Are you worried about the orphans? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered as he looked at Ling Feng's expression. He knew what Ling Feng was thinking. He smiled and said, bring them to the mansion as well. Those little fellows are unpolished jade. Train them well in the future and don't mistreat them. Thank you, young master. Both Madame Leng and Ling Feng were pleasantly surprised. Finally, Ling Xiao instructed the housekeeper to bring Madame Leng and Ling Feng to the side yard of the mansion while he prepared to refine the elixir that could awaken Ling Feng's heavenly blade bloodline. The Slaughter Elixir. The Slaughter Elixir was a medium-grade treasure elixir. It was refined using the heaven and earth energy, Gengjin energy, and the pure heaven and earth demonic qi. It contained a trace of pure slaughter qi that could awaken Ling Feng's heavenly blade bloodline. The heaven and earth energy is readily available. The chaotic world demonic ape's blood essence is not used up yet. I can use it to refine the slaughter elixir. Ling Xiao checked his longevity ring and found that he had all the spiritual herbs and heavenly treasures he needed to refine the pill of slaughter. Since that's the case, let's refine the elixir. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he spoke to Li Ling and the others. Then, he turned around and entered the secret chamber. Ling Xiao's mental strength was extremely powerful now. In addition, he had the heaven-devouring fire in his body. Refining the slaughter elixir was a piece of cake for him. Just as Ling Xiao was refining the slaughter elixir, Chen Fengdao and Chen Weishan's expressions turned extremely ugly in the general's residence. Damn it, why is the seal on the jade disc so strange? Chen Fengdao's eyes were red, and his face was ferocious. He held a piece of black jade disc in his hand. It looked like a strange dagger that was glowing. This was the jade disc of the 7 slashes of obliteration that he had obtained at the auction. However, after the 2 pieces of jade disc were combined into one, a strange seal appeared on it. Chen Fengdao brought back the jade disc. Neither he nor Chen Weishan could do anything about it. The seal was too strong. It actually contained a trace of pure mental strength that was extremely vast. Moreover, there was a domineering, ancient, and powerful saber essence on the jade disc. Chen Fengdao and Chen Weishan did not even look at it and forcefully broke the seal. Otherwise, when the saber essence exploded, there would be unpredictable danger. Looks like our guess was right. There really is a heaven-class martial art on this jade disc. It's far superior to the 7 slashes of obliteration. Chen Weishan said slowly. His eyes shone brightly, and the corners of his mouth curled into a bitter smile. Father, what should we do? If we can't break the seal, we won't be able to cultivate the heaven-class martial art on it. Chen Fengdao was the most anxious one. Not only had he suffered a great loss at Ling Zhao's hands, but he had also been defeated by Ling Feng. This made him feel extremely aggrieved. He wanted to break the seal and cultivate the ultimate martial art on it to avenge himself. The seal on the jade disc was simply driving Chen Fengdao crazy. The seal on the jade disc is a powerful mental strength seal. We won't be able to break it with our strength alone. I'm afraid that even a Sky Realm expert won't be able to break it. We need to find someone with strong mental strength to break the seal. Chen Weishan's expression was somewhat ugly. If they found someone else to break the seal, wouldn't that mean that the secret of the jade disc martial art would be exposed? This was something that Chen Fengdao and Chen Weishan could not tolerate. In the entire Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom, only the Imperial Tutor and Pure Yang Spiritual Master can break the seal on the jade disc. Chen Weishan said with a sigh. Both of them were Sky Realm experts. Moreover, their mental strength had reached the peak of upper-grade alchemy grandmaster. They had unfathomable means and might be able to break the seal on the jade disc. Pure Yang Spiritual Master. This won't do. That old man is too mysterious. If he knows that we have a Sky Realm martial art here, he might be tempted. As for the Imperial Tutor, Ling Juechen, he has an extremely good reputation in the royal capital. Moreover, I've heard that he also cultivated a powerful Sky Realm martial art. He shouldn't covet our jade disc martial art, right? Chen Fengdao thought for a moment and directly rejected Pure Yang Spiritual Master. When he mentioned Ling Juechen, he was somewhat hesitant. The Imperial Tutor's character is trustworthy. Even if he can't break the seal on the jade disc in the end, he definitely won't reveal the secret. The Imperial Tutor and I are still somewhat pretentious. It seems that we can only find the Imperial Tutor if we want to break the seal. Chen Weishan was somewhat unwilling, but in the end, he could only sigh. Guarding a treasure mountain without being able to enter was naturally an extremely depressing matter. Thus, Chen Weishan also decided to take a risk and ask Ling Juechen to break the seal on the jade disc. That's the only way. Chen Fengdao said through gritted teeth. At the same time, the figures of Ling Xiao and Ling Feng appeared in his mind. His eyes revealed an incomparably cold killing intent that flickered with a sharpness that could devour a person. Ling Xiao, Ling Feng, just you wait. Chapter 218. It was not difficult for Ling Xiao to refine the slaughter pill. When Ling Xiao walked out of the secret chamber a day later, the slaughter pill was successfully refined. A black pill appeared in Ling Xiao's hand. It was the size of a longan fruit and was sparkling and translucent. It emitted circles of black ripples. There was no medicinal fragrance coming from it. Instead, there was a sharp light surging around it. This was the slaughter pill. Ling Xiao had used up most of his elixirs and all of the chaotic world demonic ape's blood essence. He had also extracted a lot of heaven and earth qi from the ground to refine this treasure pill. Ling Xiao called Ling Feng over and handed him the slaughter pill. Middle grade treasure pill, slaughter pill. Young master, refined this for you. Ling Feng's eyes were filled with shock as if he was in a dream. He could not believe his eyes. Ling Feng naturally knew that Ling Xiao's martial talent was extraordinary. However, he did not expect Ling Xiao to be an alchemy master. To be able to refine a middle-grade treasure pill, Ling Xiao was at least a middle-grade alchemy master. However, was there such a young alchemy master in the great barren ancient country? After all, alchemy was different from martial arts. Not only did it require talent, but it also required time. Many alchemy theories required a lot of practice to comprehend. Therefore, many alchemy masters were at least 50 or 60 years old. However, Ling Xiao was only 16 years old. Even if he started practicing alchemy when he was in his mother's womb, it was impossible for him to become a middle-grade alchemy master so quickly. Of course it was refined by the saint. Leng Feng, you have only seen the tip of the iceberg of the saint's craziness. Follow the saint and do well. The saint will not mistreat you. Ling Xiao smiled and patted Leng Feng's shoulder. Perhaps there was an inexplicable connection between the heavenly blade and heavenly sword bloodlines. In a short time, Li Ling and Leng Feng became familiar with each other and had a good relationship. Looking at Leng Feng's dumbfounded expression, Li Ling thought of his own expression when he saw Ling Xiao refining the sword heart pill and felt proud. Your heavenly blade bloodline is now on the verge of awakening. This slaughter pill can help you completely awaken your heavenly blade bloodline. Cultivate well and don't disappoint me. Ling Xiao smiled as he handed the slaughter pill to Leng Feng. Yes, young master. Leng Feng suppressed the shock in his heart and solemnly accepted the slaughter pill. Leng Feng's heart was filled with anticipation and a thirst for power. Once he awakened the heavenly blade bloodline, he would be one step closer to avenging his father. The Skyblade bloodline is no small matter. Although it's impossible for you to break through to the heaven tier in one go like elderly, the power of that bloodline will at least allow you to break through several realms. At that time, the so-called 5 young masters of the capital city will probably have to be re-ranked. Ling Xiao said with a smile. If Leng Feng awakened the heavenly blade bloodline, Xia Yunjie, Ling Qingqing, and the others would not be a match for him. Leng Feng left. He adjusted his condition and prepared to enter seclusion. However, Master Jiamu brought Ling Xiao a piece of news. Did Ling Juchen call for an alchemist convention to refine the soul-returning pill? It seems like he has broken through to the peerless alchemy grandmaster realm. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he softly muttered to himself. The soul-returning pill was a peerless treasure pill. It was a pill for experts at Heaven Tier 9 to break through to the noble stage. Only a peerless alchemy grandmaster was qualified to refine the soul-returning pill. Ling Xiao had given the minor soul-refining technique to Ling Qingqing. He did not expect Ling Ju Chen to break through to the peerless alchemy grandmaster realm in just 2 days. Has Pure Yang spiritual master broken through? Ling Xiao asked Master Jiamu. Pure Yang spiritual master has broken through as well. Master Jiamu's eyes flashed with excitement. Master, Ling Ju Chen and Pure Yang spiritual master have been stuck at the peak of the upper alchemy grandmaster realm for many years. Now that they have obtained the minor soul refining technique, they are like tigers that have grown wings. When the conditions are right, they will naturally break through. Moreover, Pure Yang spiritual master and Ling Ju Chen are both at the peak of heaven tier. If they succeed in refining the soul returning pill, they will break through to the noble stage. For us, we will have 2 more top fighters. Then, even if we face the Wanshou sect, we will have the ability to protect ourselves. Master Jiamu looked at Ling Xiao with admiration. Ling Xiao had only used the minor soul refining technique to make Pure Yang spiritual master and Ling Ju Chen owe him a huge favor. If they broke through to the noble stage, they would definitely be Ling Xiao's best allies. In the life and death duel a month later, Ling Xiao was not only thinking about defeating the disciples of the Wanshou sect. More importantly, he had to prevent the Wanshou sect from acting out of desperation. If a noble stage cultivator really appeared, no one in the imperial capital would be able to stop him. Master, Ling Juechen and Spiritual Master Chun Yang will be hosting the alchemy conference this time. In addition, there are 3 mid-tier alchemy grandmasters and 9 low-tier alchemy grandmasters in the capital. They are preparing to gather everyone's strength to refine the soul-returning pill. Master Jiamu said slowly. Gathering everyone's strength? If the soul-returning pill is so easy to refine, there wouldn't be so few noble stage cultivators in the 8 Desolation region. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The soul-returning pill was also an ancient pill formula. It was relatively common 10,000 years ago, but after 10,000 years, the formula of the soul-returning pill had long been lost. This time, the royal family of the Great Wilderness had paid a great price to obtain the formula of the soul-returning pill from an ancient ruin. They wanted to refine the legendary soul-returning pill. If a 9th-level celestial stage cultivator wanted to break through to the noble stage, they had to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth and gather the power of will. This was already a level that involved the Tao. Therefore, although the soul-returning pill was a supreme treasure pill, it could already be called a Tao pill. It contained the power of the Tao and was extremely difficult to refine. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not have high hopes for this year's Alchemy Grandmaster competition. If he wanted to refine the soul-returning pill, it was very likely that he would fail. Master, Ling Ju Chen and Pure Yang Spiritual Master know that the soul-returning pill is extremely difficult to refine, so they want to gather everyone's strength and brainstorm a way to refine the soul-returning pill. Moreover, Ling Ju Chen and Pure Yang Spiritual Master hope that you can participate in this Alchemy Grandmaster competition. Master Jiaomu looked at Ling Xiao and said, "They want me to participate in the Alchemy Grandmaster competition. Do they think that I can refine the soul-returning pill?" Ling Xiao smiled faintly. With the strength of his spiritual power, he would have to pay a huge price to refine the soul-returning pill. Moreover, Ling Ju Chen and Pure Yang Spiritual Master did not know about Ling Xiao's cultivation in alchemy. Why would they want Ling Xiao to participate in the Alchemy Grandmaster competition? This is also something that makes me feel strange. I have never revealed Master's attainments in alchemy to anyone. I don't know why they want Master to participate in the Alchemy Grandmaster competition. If Master doesn't want to go, I'll turn them down. Master Jiaomu's eyes revealed a trace of doubt. No need. I really want to see this so-called Alchemy Grandmaster competition. Especially Ling Ju Chen, I want to see him. Chapter 219. The Alchemy Conference was held at the Celestial Master Hall in the Imperial City. The next day, Ling Xiao and Master Jiaomu left the Demon King's residence and entered the Imperial City. The Imperial City was located in the center of the Imperial City. It occupied a vast area and had a majestic aura. From Ling Xiao's point of view, it was located in the center of the Dragon Vein. The spirit qi here was dense and prosperous. There were many palaces in the Imperial City. They were simple and dignified, filled with an ancient and vicissitude aura. The Imperial City, like the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom, had existed for tens of thousands of years and had witnessed the vicissitudes of time. The Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom still existed, but the longevity sect that looked down on the world and dominated the world had long lost its former glory. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of emotion as he walked into the Imperial City with Master Jiaomu. After passing through several long corridors and turning a few corners, Ling Xiao saw a simple gray palace. There were 3 ancient words on it: Celestial Master Hall. Outside the Celestial Master Hall was a huge white jade plaza. At this moment, smoke curled up as many figures appeared on the plaza. There are actually so many people. Ling Xiao and Master Jiaomu were shocked. There were many figures in alchemist robes on the plaza. There were at least 100 people, and each of them had a golden cauldron and a golden star embroidered on their chest. There were from 1 to 5 golden stars, and each of them had an extraordinary bearing. Their gazes were like lightning, and they were surrounded by powerful mental energy. It was as if all the alchemists in the Imperial City had come. Didn't they say that there were only a dozen people participating in the alchemy conference this time? Why are there so many people? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. I'm not very sure either. Master, wait a moment, I'll go ask. Master Jiaomu was somewhat ashamed. He felt that he didn't even know the situation of the alchemy conference and hurriedly walked toward the crowd. The appearance of Master Jiaomu immediately caused a commotion in the crowd. Many alchemists revealed incomparably excited expressions. Master Jiao Mu could be said to be the most popular alchemist in the imperial city during this period of time. His reputation was second only to the imperial tutor Ling Juechen and spiritual master Chen Yang. Immediately, many alchemists gathered and smiled as they greeted Master Jiao Mu. Master Jiao Mu also took the opportunity to inquire about the conference this time. Not long after, Master Jiao Mu returned. "Master, I've already asked clearly." Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang had originally planned to gather everyone's strength to refine the soul-returning pill. However, for some reason, they changed their minds and turned the alchemy assembly into a competition between alchemists. Those who passed the competition would not only receive guidance from Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang, but they would also receive an ancient pill recipe. So all these alchemists are scrambling like ducks, as if they've been injected with chicken blood. All of them are here. Master Jiao Mu smiled bitterly, his eyes filled with doubt. In the past few days, Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang had been in seclusion trying to break through to the pinnacle of pill refinement, so the news he received was not accurate. But who would have thought that the pill refinement assembly this time would turn into a competition between pill refinement masters? A contest between alchemists? Interesting. How are we going to compete? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he smiled faintly. I'm not sure about that. The people who came today don't know anything about the soul-returning pill. They only know that the Alchemy Master Conference this time is a competition between alchemists. Those who can pass the test will be rewarded handsomely. That's why they came. Master Jiao Mu said. Being able to receive guidance from Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang, as well as an ancient pill formula, was an irresistible temptation for all alchemists. After all, the path of alchemy was too broad and profound. If one did not have a complete legacy, it would be very difficult for them to raise their cultivation level alone. The Alchemy Conference this time just so happened to be an excellent opportunity. If they could gain the favor of Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang, they might be able to advance by leaps and bounds on the path of alchemy and reach a higher realm. All the alchemists were tempted. Soul-returning pill. Alchemy Master Conference? This is getting more and more interesting. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as a smile appeared on his lips. Ling Zhao stood in the middle of the square with Master Jiao Mu. He looked at the tightly shut doors of the Celestial Master Hall with a thoughtful expression. Princess Hongxiu is here. At that moment, a commotion broke out in the crowd. Everyone looked in one direction. In the distance, Xia Hongxiu was wearing a red dress. She was tall and slender, and her skin was snow-white. Her eyes were full of heroic spirit, and she had a different kind of beauty. Beside her was a young man in a white robe. He looked very handsome and tall. His eyes were like torches, but he looked very arrogant. There was a hint of disdain in his eyes as he looked at the crowd. Most importantly, there was a golden cauldron embroidered on his chest. It had 5 golden stars. This white-robed young man was actually a middle-grade alchemy master. Who is that white-robed young man? He's actually a middle-grade alchemy master. This is too unbelievable, isn't it? An alchemist's eyes revealed a hint of shock. He found it hard to believe. A middle-grade alchemy master in his 20s. This completely overturned their worldview. The alchemy masters in the square were all white-haired. They had studied alchemy for decades or even centuries before they became alchemy masters. There were even many elders who were still alchemists and had no way of breaking through to become alchemy masters. The appearance of this white-robed young man caused a commotion in the square. After all, this white-robed young man was too young. Look at his sleeves. That's the pattern of the sun, moon, and stars. Is he also from the sun-moon-star sect? Someone's eyes flashed as he saw the pattern of the sun, moon, and stars embroidered with golden thread on the white-robed young man's sleeves. He was immediately shocked and exclaimed. A disciple of the sun-moon-star sect. I remember now. It seems that the sun god's lineage of the sun-moon-star sect has a disciple with great talent in alchemy. Moreover, he's the younger brother of the sun god. Could it be him? Someone's eyes flashed as he thought of a rumor. It was rumored that there were many amazing geniuses in this generation of sun-moon-star sect disciples. The most dazzling were naturally the sun god and the moon god. Although the sun god's younger brother's talent in cultivation was average, he was born with strong mental strength. He was different from ordinary people. Moreover, he had refined the sun-moon-star sect's scorching sun heavenly fire. He had amazing talent in alchemy and had already broken through to the alchemy master realm in his 20s. It should be him. I didn't expect him to come to the Alchemy Master Conference today. It seems like we have no hope. Many alchemists revealed a trace of sadness in their eyes as they smiled bitterly. Senior Brother Zhao, thank you for coming to the Alchemy Master Conference. I believe that you will make it to the end. Xia Hongxiu looked at the white-robed young man and smiled gratefully. Hongxiu, I still have to give you face. However, I feel that Ling Juechen and Chunyang's spiritual master's actions are superfluous. How can these useless people be a match for me, Zhao Ritian? There's no need to compete at all. Just tell them to get lost. It's just a resurrection pill. I, Zhao Ritian, don't care about it. The white-robed young man smiled arrogantly. He looked at the crowd with disdain in his eyes. Chapter 220. Zhao Ritian did not lower his voice. His words were heard by many alchemists. Everyone glared at him angrily. What? Could it be that I said something wrong? You old fogies have wasted your lives. You're already so old, yet you're still at the level of an alchemist. I'm afraid you won't be able to reach the level of an alchemist master in your lifetime. If it wasn't for me, Zhao Ritian, this alchemy master conference would be nothing but a joke. I don't mind showing you what a real alchemy master is. Zhao Ritian stood with his hands behind his back and his nose in the air. He looked as if he was the best in the world. Many alchemists were initially in awe of his identity as a disciple of the sun-moon-star sect. However, after hearing Zhao Ritian's words, they were about to explode. Their eyes were spitting fire. They felt as if they had been humiliated. Which alchemist wasn't high and mighty in the outside world, being sought after by others? How could they endure such humiliation? However, no one dared to speak out. Although Zhao Ritian's words were arrogant, he had the right to be. An alchemist master in his 20s could be said to be one of a kind in the entire Eight Desolates region. Xia Hongxiu's face was flushed red. Her eyes revealed a trace of helplessness. Senior Brother Zhao was good at everything. His talent in alchemy was unparalleled. He even had the legendary Nine Sons bloodline. He was naturally close to fire. That was why he could refine the blazing sun heavenly fire so easily. However, his personality was a little too arrogant. Pfft! Where did this clown come from? This name is so fucking unique. Could it be that you really want to fuck the heavens? Ling Xiao could not help but laugh. The name Zhao Ritian sounded very domineering. However, why was it so strange? He said softly to Master Jiao Mu. There was a trace of a smile in his eyes. However, the senses of a martial artist were very sharp. In addition, Ling Xiao did not intentionally lower his voice. Therefore, everyone heard what he said instantly. Zhao Ritian. Everyone thought about the name and thought of a certain metaphor. They could not help but laugh. At the same time, some of them could not help but look at Ling Xiao. This kid really had guts. He actually dared to make fun of Zhao Ritian. Did he not know that Zhao Ritian was from the Sun-Moon-Star sect? Zhao Ritian's face instantly stiffened. He looked at Ling Xiao. In the entire Sun-Moon-Star sect, he was a high and mighty true disciple. Who dared to make fun of him? Yet, this brat Ling Xiao was so daring. Zhao Ritian's eyes turned cold instantly. Ling Xiao, it's you. Xia Hongxiu shouted when she saw Ling Xiao. She had a complicated look in her eyes. Xia Hongxiu had mixed feelings about Ling Xiao. She was shocked. Ling. She, with a dragon tiger realm. With a single punch defeat Ling defeat. With. You said he defeated Shi Tianluo. That's impossible, right? He's only in the dragon tiger realm. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with doubt. After seeing Ling Xiao's cultivation base clearly, he said in disdain, that's right. Although Shi Tianluo's heavenly serpent bloodline was far from Zhao Ritian's nine-son bloodline, it was still a monstrous talent. Shi Tianluo was a genuine level 6 grandmaster, one level higher than Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian didn't believe that Ling Xiao could defeat Shi Tianluo. He is Ling Xiao. Shi Tianluo was defeated by him. Xia Hongxiu nodded. Many alchemists were shocked. The news of Ling Xiao defeating Shi Tianluo had spread throughout the royal capital. At this moment, many people saw that Ling Xiao was only a teenager of 15 or 16 years old. His smile was bright and delicate. He was completely different from the legendary domineering and powerful figure who suppressed Sky Snake descent. They found it hard to believe. Ling Xiao. Why is he here for the alchemy conference? Could it be that he is also an alchemist? Many alchemists had different expressions on their faces as they discussed softly. That shouldn't be possible. His martial arts talent is so heaven-defying. If he's also an alchemist, how are we supposed to live? I heard that he has a close relationship with Master Jiaomu. I think Master Jiaomu might have brought him here. Someone shook his head. Kid, Hongxiu isn't someone you can covet. Don't be a toad who wants to eat swan meat. You're not worthy of Hongxiu. Only a brilliant, talented, handsome, and intelligent peerless hero like me is worthy of Hongxiu. You'd better stay away from him. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you. Zhao Ritian looked at Ling Xiao arrogantly. His voice was cold and filled with disdain. Everyone looked at Zhao Ritian strangely. Zhao Ritian was too arrogant. He was praising himself as if it was natural. He even wanted to teach Ling Xiao a lesson. Ling Xiao was a ruthless person who could even defeat Shi Tianluo. Zhao Ritian's talent in alchemy was indeed very strong, but in terms of cultivation, he was only at the 5th level of the Grandmaster realm. Where did he get the confidence to be rude to Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said with a smile, "Oh. How are you going to be rude to me? Why don't we have a fight?" A cold and sharp aura emanated from Ling Xiao's body and pressed towards Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao did not know why, but he felt that Zhao Ritian was asking for a beating. He could not help but want to beat him up. Zhao Ritian shuddered as he felt an extremely dangerous aura coming from Ling Xiao. Only then did he know that this kid before him had the ability to defeat Shi Tianluo. Ling Xiao, what are you trying to do? This is the Alchemy Master Conference. Only the honorable alchemists can participate in this conference. Why are you fighting? If you're so capable, compete with me in alchemy. I'll definitely beat you up so badly that even your mother won't recognize you. Zhao Ritian could not help but take a few steps back. However, when he saw that Ling Xiao did not do anything, he became angry. He pointed at Ling Xiao and sneered. Are you sure you want to compete with me in alchemy? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a strange look as he said with a smile. Why? Are you scared? When it comes to alchemy, I, Zhao Ritian, have never been afraid of anyone. If you're scared, kneel down and kowtow to apologize. I, Zhao Ritian, am a magnanimous man. I'll forgive you. Zhao Ritian chuckled coldly and said arrogantly. Chapter 221. In Master Jiao Mu's opinion, Ling Xiao's talent in alchemy was even more heaven-defying than his talent in martial arts. The ancient pill formulas that even Ling Juechen and spiritual master Chun Yang were helpless against were easily restored by Ling Xiao. And Ling Zhao's alchemy technique simply made people gasp in amazement, making Grandmaster Jiao Mu feel like he was a celestial being. In Master Jiao Mu's opinion, Ling Zhao's alchemy skills were even better than Ling Juechen and spiritual master Chen Yang. Although Zhao Ritian's talent in alchemy was strong, he was still far from Ling Zhao's level. It was like comparing a firefly to the moon. They were not on the same level at all. Zhao Ritian's arrogant claim that he wanted to compete with Ling Zhao in alchemy was like an old man eating arsenic. He was tired of living. Silence. At this moment, the door of the Celestial Master Hall opened. An old man in a black robe walked out. He had a ruddy complexion and white hair. The old man was tall and big. His face was hale and hearty. His old eyes shone brightly, and his body exuded a powerful aura. Most importantly, there was a golden cauldron embroidered on the old man's chest. There were 5 golden stars. This was a middle-grade alchemy grandmaster. Everyone, I'm Xia Yan. I'm honored to be the host of this alchemy conference. This alchemy conference was organized by Lord Imperial Tutor and Spiritual Master Chen Yang. The purpose of this alchemy conference is to give the alchemists of the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom an opportunity to interact. The black-robed old man smiled as he spoke slowly to the crowd. It's actually the imperial family's chief alchemist, Xia Yan. I heard that not only is he a sky realm expert, but he has also reached the peak of middle-grade alchemy grandmaster. His alchemy skills are second only to the Lord Imperial Tutor. I didn't expect him to be the host of this alchemy conference. Someone exclaimed as he recognized the black-robed old man's identity. The Lord Imperial Tutor and Spiritual Master Chen Yang are in seclusion to break through to the peerless alchemy grandmaster realm. Therefore, I'll be the host of the alchemy conference today. As long as you can pass the assessment of the alchemy conference, not only will there be many rewards, but you may also receive guidance from the Lord Imperial Tutor and Spiritual Master Chen Yang. Therefore, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Everyone must fight for it. Xia Yan's aged voice resounded throughout the square. Many alchemists immediately became excited. Their eyes were filled with passion. The Imperial Tutor and Spiritual Master Pure Yang were actually about to break through to the Supreme Grade Alchemy Grandmaster realm. If he could get their guidance, he might have a chance to break through and advance by leaps and bounds on the path of alchemy. Zhao Ritian, on the other hand, placed his hands behind his back and looked up into the sky, revealing a look of disdain. There are a total of 3 stages in this year's Alchemy Master Conference. Alchemists who are able to pass these 3 stages will be able to obtain unimaginable benefits. Let's not. Identification. Xia Yan looked at everyone with satisfaction and led them into the Celestial Master Hall. Identification. Could it be that he was identifying spiritual herbs? Isn't this too simple? It shouldn't be that simple. Even if it's just identifying spiritual herbs, there might be many unorthodox ones. Many alchemists were extremely excited and nervous as they followed Xia Yan into the Celestial Master Hall. Zhao Ritian rolled his eyes and looked at Ling Zhao. Not interested. Ling Zhao glanced at him and walked into the Celestial Master Hall with Master Jiao Mu. Bastard! Zhao Ritian flew into a rage. Just you wait. Let's see if you still dare to be arrogant in front of me when I get first place in the Celestial Master Hall. Xia Hongxiu followed beside Zhao Ritian. Her forehead was filled with black lines and her face was filled with helplessness. The Celestial Master Hall was very spacious. Over 100 transparent glass boxes were placed in front of everyone. Each of the glass boxes was enveloped in a faint layer of restrictive light. Inside each of the boxes were various types of spirit herbs. A faint fragrance wafted out from each of the boxes. It's really identification. Someone was slightly taken aback. Looking at the hundreds of glass boxes, there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. As Ling Zhao looked at the hundreds of spiritual herbs in the glass boxes and smelled the faint fragrance of the herbs, a strange look appeared in his eyes. He seemed to understand the purpose of this Celestial Master Hall. More than half of the spiritual herbs were needed to refine the resurrection elixir. Identification. Interesting. Ling Xiao's lips curled into a smile. Everyone, there are 108 glass boxes here. There is a spiritual herb in each glass box. The identification test is to identify the spiritual herbs in these 108 glass boxes. Not only do you have to identify the name of the spiritual herbs, but you also have to identify the age of the spiritual herbs, as well as the attributes and uses of the spiritual herbs. The name, age, attributes, and uses of the spiritual herbs. You will get 1 point for each correct answer. You will get a total of 432 points. Those who get more than 300 points correct can enter the second test. Xia Yan's voice rang out as he announced the contents of the identification test. It's not that simple. Many of the celestial masters had a look of understanding on their faces. Identifying spirit herbs was the simplest and most basic knowledge. However, identifying the age of a spirit herb through its color, shape, and fragrance was a little difficult. As for investigating the attributes and uses of spirit herbs, that required even more extensive alchemy knowledge and practical experience to be able to do. Therefore, the simple identification test tested many aspects of alchemy knowledge. It was extremely difficult. Many celestial masters knew the name of the spiritual herbs, but it was difficult to identify the age, attributes, and uses of the spiritual herbs. Ling Xiao, do you dare to make a bet with me? I bet that you won't even get half of my points. If you win, I'll give you this cyan spiritual pill. This cyan spiritual pill can raise the cultivation level of the dragon tiger realm by 1 level. It's extremely precious. Only the Sun Moon Star sect has it. Ordinary people can't get their hands on it. If you lose, you have to apologize to me. What do you think? Zhao Ritian licked his lips and stuck close to Ling Xiao. He was holding a green pill in his hand. The fragrance of the pill was strong as he said arrogantly. Cyan spiritual pill. It's just a lower grade supreme pill. I'm not interested. Ling Xiao glanced at the cyan spiritual pill in Zhao Ritian's hand and said disdainfully. Then what do you want for you to be willing to bet with me? Zhao Ritian said, unwilling to give up. Ling Xiao looked around and walked to the door of the Celestial Master Hall. He took out a green stone that was the size of a human head and was extremely sturdy. If you win, I'll kneel down and kowtow to you. However, if you lose, you'll have to eat this stone. Do you dare to do it? Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian and said with a faint smile on his face. Eat the stone. What's there to be afraid of? It's a deal. However, I'm afraid that you'll be the one kneeling down and kowtowing. Ling Xiao, just you wait. You'll lose for sure. Zhao Ritian was stunned for a moment before he laughed arrogantly. However, for some reason, Zhao Ritian had an ominous feeling in his heart. He felt that Ling Xiao was up to no good. Chapter 222. Pure Sun, do you really think that we'll be able to find the person we need in this grand alchemy conference? Ling Ju Chen and Sage Pure Sun sat opposite each other in a secret chamber in the Celestial Master Hall. One was carefree and unrestrained, while the other had a ruddy complexion and white hair. Both of them emitted a powerful mental energy aura. In front of them was a smooth stone. On it were the scenes of the alchemists participating in the assessment. The stone was called the Image Recording Stone, and it was an ancient artifact. All of the alchemists could be seen by the two of them. My divination shows that our opportunity to refine the soul-returning pill is in this grand alchemy conference. I believe that we'll definitely be able to find the person we need. Sage Pure Sun's hair and beard were all white. He wore a long white robe, and his eyes shone with wisdom. Do you think it'll be Zhao Ritian? He's the most famous alchemy genius in the entire 8 Desolates region. He was born with powerful mental energy. Perhaps it'll be the pure young primordial spirit we're looking for. Ling Ju Chen was dressed in a black robe. His long black hair draped over his shoulders, and his eyes were as bright as stars. He looked extremely handsome, and his features were very similar to Ling Qingqing's. His gaze landed on Zhao Ritian, and a hint of anticipation appeared in his eyes. I don't know. There's nothing we can do about it. The soul returning pill is simply too special. Although it's only a supreme grade pill, it's not any less difficult than a Dao pill. If we were alchemy grandmasters, we wouldn't have to spend so much effort to find the pure yang primordial spirit. Sage Pure Sun sighed softly. According to the records of the ancient pill formula, the pure yang primordial spirit is extremely rare. Let's hope that we can really find it among them. Ling Juchen said with some uncertainty. However, that little fellow Ling Xiao is very strange. I don't know why, but my divination actually has something to do with him. Sage Pure's son looked at Ling Xiao in the Celestial Master Hall, and a hint of doubt appeared in his eyes. Ling Xiao. It can't be. This little fellow must have suffered a lot in the past 3 years. He must have completely awakened the talent that Ling Zhen passed on to him. This kind of martial talent is even stronger than Ling Zhen's when he was young. However, he's not an alchemist. Even if he has the pure yang primordial spirit, it won't be of any use, right? Ling Juechen looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Ling Juchen was the imperial preceptor of the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom, while Sage Pure Yang was the master of the Spirit Herbs Pavilion. Both of them had sharp eyes, but they couldn't sense the aura of an alchemist from Ling Xiao's body. Therefore, they were very puzzled. If not for the fact that Daoist Chun Yang's divination had pointed to Ling Xiao, he probably would not have invited Ling Xiao to participate in this alchemy conference. That's why we set up the 3 views test. The first 2 tests are the most basic and also the most crucial part of the alchemy Dao test. Only the 3rd test involves the pure yang primordial spirit. Let's wait patiently. There will be a result soon. Sage Pure Yang said slowly. That's true, but I really think highly of that little guy Zhao Ritian. Maybe he can bring us a surprise. Ling Juchen smiled as his gaze landed on Zhao Ritian. In the Celestial Master Hall, after Xia Yan announced the rules of the first round, many alchemists began to answer questions one by one, starting from the first glass box. The first spiritual herb is as clear as jade and emits a milky white light. Could it be the legendary exquisite jade? It should be the exquisite jade. Such a huge exquisite jade should be at least 500 years old, right? No, I think it should be at least 1,000 years old. Many alchemists looked at the spiritual herb in the first glass box and could not make up their minds. They began to discuss softly among themselves. However, Elder Xia Yan walked over and reminded them that they could only answer the questions by themselves and could not communicate with each other. Only then did everyone shut their mouths obediently and began to answer the questions by themselves. However, the first spiritual herb was indeed the exquisite jade. Just its age alone was enough to make many alchemists stumped, let alone its attributes and uses. Many alchemists revealed a worried look on their faces. If the first spiritual herb was already so rare and precious, wouldn't the rest of the spiritual herbs be even more difficult to identify? Look, Zhao Ritian's answering speed is actually so fast. He's already answered the 10th question. Someone exclaimed. They saw Zhao Ritian pause in front of every glass box for a moment before moving on to the next one. In a short period of time, he had already reached the 10th glass box. As expected of the most talented alchemist in the 8 Desolates region. It's different to have a complete inheritance. It seems like these spiritual herbs that we rarely see are just ordinary to him. It seems like Zhao Ritian is very likely to be the champion this time. That's right. Look at Master Jiao Mu, Master Chong He, and Master Chong Ming. They've only reached the 5th spiritual herb. I didn't expect the difference between them to be so huge. Many alchemists muttered softly. Their eyes were filled with shock. Master Jiao Mu, Master Chong He, and Master Chong Ming were all mid-level alchemists. They were famous in the royal capital. However, their answering speed was far from Zhao Ritian's. Since the start of the assessment, Ling Xiao had let Master Jiao Mu answer the questions alone. He did not accompany him. To Ling Xiao, these 108 spiritual herbs could not be more familiar. He could even close his eyes and recite the names, ages, attributes, and uses of these spiritual herbs. After all, Ling Xiao was the supreme alchemist in his previous life. In the entire world, there was probably no spiritual herb that he could not recognize. Therefore, Ling Xiao really didn't care about this so-called identification test. What he cared about was that Zhu Chen and Chunyang Jinren's goal of initiating the Three Views test of the Alchemist Conference was probably as he had expected. The resurrection elixir was extremely special. Although it was only a supreme-grade elixir, it could help a celestial realm cultivator break through to the noble realm. Consuming one resurrection elixir could increase the chances of breaking through by 50%. It was too difficult for a celestial realm cultivator to break through to the noble realm. Otherwise, there would be a noble realm cultivator in the entire Great Barren ancient country. Therefore, the resurrection elixir could increase the chances of breaking through by 50%. Not only was the resurrection elixir the essence of spiritual herbs, it was also related to the will of heaven and earth. It could be said that the most important thing in helping a celestial realm cultivator break through to the noble realm was not the power of the spiritual herbs in the resurrection elixir, but the mysterious power of will. Therefore, although Zhu Chen and Chunyang Jinren had broken through to become supreme-grade alchemists, the chances of them failing to refine the resurrection elixir were very high. Only an alchemy grandmaster could guarantee success in refining the resurrection elixir. However, in the entire 8 Desolates region, alchemy grandmasters were as rare as feathers and phoenix horns. Chapter 223. The cultivation of martial arts involved the 3 treasures of essence, qi, and spirit. Spirit was the most mysterious part. Everyone's spirit started out as a fusion of yin and yang. Legend had it that there were peerless geniuses who were blessed by the heavens and earth who were born with a pure yang primordial spirit. There was no trace of yin qi in their spirit. Such geniuses were born to be supreme. As long as they didn't die, they would definitely break through to the supreme realm. This was because there was a condition to break through to the supreme realm. That was to have a pure yang primordial spirit. Those who had a pure yang primordial spirit, regardless of whether they were cultivating martial arts or alchemy, would make rapid progress. If someone with a pure yang primordial spirit were to refine the soul-reviving pill, even if they were just an alchemist, they might be able to refine it. Ling Juechen and Pure Yang spiritual master must have obtained this method from ancient books. That was why they put in so much effort to organize the alchemy conference. Ling Xiao was very curious about how Ling Juechen and Pure Yang spiritual master knew about the Pure Yang primordial spirit. After all, it was impossible for ordinary people to know about this. Ling Xiao, it's not too late for you to admit defeat. As long as you kneel down and apologize to me, Zhao Ritian, and say that you won't bother junior sister Heng Xiu anymore, I'll let you go. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude when you lose later. Suddenly, Zhao Ritian's smug voice rang out, interrupting Ling Xiao's train of thought. Zhao Ritian was already standing in front of the 30th spiritual medicine. He turned around to look at Ling Xiao and realized that Ling Xiao was still standing in front of the first spiritual medicine in a daze. In his opinion, Ling Xiao really didn't know anything. He wasn't even an alchemist. How could he possibly answer? After all, these 108 spiritual medicines were not common. Even Zhao Ritian felt that it was a little difficult. There were a few spiritual medicines that even he couldn't decide on. Admit defeat? Why should I admit defeat? Zhao Ritian, just wait and eat the cornerstone stone. Ling Xiao raised his head, the corners of his mouth curling up as he smiled faintly. You're so stubborn. Just wait and see how I'll deal with you when you lose. You dare to compete with the handsome and intelligent Zhao Ritian in alchemy? You're dead meat. Zhao Ritian smiled coldly at Ling Xiao before turning around and continuing to answer the questions. Facing Zhao Ritian, who was full of chinibyu, Ling Xiao could not get angry. He could only shake his head and prepare to answer the questions. Ling Xiao did not intend to be in the limelight and get full marks. As long as he could get 300 points, that would be enough. Thinking about Zhao Ritian's expression when he ate the cornerstone, Ling Xiao couldn't help but smirk. Yu Ling Long, 900 years old, belongs to the mixed attribute of earth and wood. It can be used to refine healing spirit pills, as well as spirit pills that can help earth and wood attribute martial artists break through their cultivation. Ling Xiao glanced at the spiritual medicine in the first glass box, and instantly, all the answers were revealed. The exquisite jade dragon was considered a high-grade spirit medicine. It was very precious, like ginseng, pure white and flawless. However, if one looked carefully, they would find a dragon-shaped string inside the exquisite jade dragon. The string was folded in 9 places, and it would be folded once every 100 years, so it was a 900-year-old exquisite jade dragon. Those alchemists rarely even saw Yu Ling Long, let alone judge Yu Ling Long's age. Ling Xiao paused in front of the first glass box for a moment before walking towards the second glass box. Green flower fruit. 300 years. Metal. Can be used to refine sword cultivators and saber cultivators to break through. Although it looks green on the outside, the most essential part is the power of aged metal. Ling Xiao glanced at the second spiritual herb and walked to the third glass box. Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast. He glanced at the spiritual herb and wrote the answer on a piece of paper. Then, he walked to the next glass box. In just a few moments, Ling Xiao had swept through more than 10 glass boxes. He was faster than most of the alchemists. He followed closely behind Master Jiao Mu, Master Chonghe, and Master Chongming. How is Ling Xiao so fast? Ling Xiao's actions immediately alarmed many alchemists. Every single one of them revealed a bewildered expression. Although Ling Xiao's martial arts talent was strong, he was not an alchemist. Although the first round was only about identifying spiritual herbs, how could Ling Xiao recognize so many spiritual herbs? Ling Xiao's actions also startled Zhao Ritian, causing him to jump in fright. Then, he laughed coldly and said, "Ling Xiao, you know that you're going to lose. That's why you pretended to answer the questions so fast. Are you trying to put pressure on me? Let me tell you, it's useless. You're going to lose." Ling Xiao swept through more than 10 spiritual herbs faster than Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian could not believe it. So, he thought that Ling Xiao did it on purpose and did not know anything. Zhao Ritian is right. Ling Xiao must have done it on purpose. Did Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian make a bet? Ling Xiao is too young. He took the bait after being provoked by Zhao Ritian. If the two of them were to fight, Ling Xiao's chances of winning would be higher. However, if it's a battle of alchemy, I'm afraid that even the 3 alchemists are no match for Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao is going to lose for sure. If he really kneels down to Zhao Ritian, it's going to be fun. Some of the alchemists had different expressions on their faces. Some were sighing, while others were gloating. However, Ling Xiao ignored them. He continued to sweep through the spiritual herbs at an extremely fast speed. The time he spent in front of each spiritual herb was very short. Soon, he overtook Master Jiaomu, Master Chonghe, and Master Chongming. So he's Ling Xiao. Does he really think that the alchemy conference is a game? Why would the imperial advisor and spiritual master Chunyang invite someone like him to the alchemy conference? Master Chonghe was a very thin old man with an old-fashioned face. He wore a loose alchemist's robe and exuded an aura that kept people away. Seeing that Ling Xiao had actually overtaken him, with such a relaxed attitude, as if he really knew all the spiritual medicines, he instantly frowned and coldly said, "What are you talking about?" "That's right. This kid definitely doesn't know anything. He's purposely picking a fight with Zhao Ritian. However, he definitely won't be able to pass the first round. He'll be eliminated very soon. Don't worry about it." Master Chongming looked very burly. His hair danced in the wind, and his vitality was majestic. He looked like a flaming lion. He lifted his head and looked at Ling Xiao with dissatisfaction. Master Jiaomu smiled indifferently and did not say anything. Only he knew that Ling Xiao was not pretending. He really knew the answer. To Ling Xiao, identifying these spiritual herbs was not difficult at all. Soon, Ling Xiao arrived beside Zhao Ritian and looked at the 50th spiritual herb. Chapter 224. Blackheart Vine, 800 years old. It's a triple attribute spiritual medicine of earth, wood, and water. Earth and wood are complementary, while water is the main attribute. It's an excellent spiritual medicine for refining organs, nourishing spiritual pills. Ling Xiao glanced at the seemingly withered tree vine in the glass box and knew the answer. Zhao Ritian's face was obviously filled with hesitation before he finally picked up the pen to write down the answer. Write slowly, don't rush. I think that suppressing stone looks delicious. It'll definitely suit your taste. Ling Xiao patted Zhao Ritian's shoulder and smiled as he walked towards the 51st glass box. Bastard! Zhao Ritian was concentrating on writing the answer. He didn't know when Ling Xiao came to his side, but he was shocked. The pen in his hand almost fell to the ground. Zhao Ritian was speechless as he looked at Ling Xiao's back and gritted his teeth. He felt that Ling Xiao was too arrogant. He was even more arrogant than him. Ling Xiao obviously didn't know anything, yet he pretended as if he had already seen through everything. This made him extremely unhappy. Ling Xiao finished looking through the 108 glass boxes very quickly. He then wrote down the answer and passed it to Xia Yan. Xia Yan was also a little surprised. He shook his head and laughed bitterly, thinking that Ling Xiao was just playing around. The other alchemists also looked at Ling Xiao as if they were looking at a fool. They knew that Ling Xiao would definitely lose this bet. Only Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a trace of doubt. Ling Xiao was too calm. There was no trace of panic at all. It was as if he already knew the answer to these 108 spiritual medicines. It shouldn't be possible. Xia Hongxiu bit her lips. She instinctively felt that it was impossible. The art of alchemy was broad and profound. It was far more difficult than the art of martial arts. Ling Xiao had transformed to such a level in 3 years. His martial arts talent was already exceptional. It was impossible for him to be so abnormal in the art of alchemy. But for some reason, Xia Hongxiu thought of the Ling family's mid-year competition. Ling Xiao was also so calm. In the end, those who mocked him were all slapped in the face. The identification test lasted for a total of 4 hours. Time passed quickly. Many alchemists didn't even finish the questions. All of them had long faces as they knew that they were about to be eliminated. Only a small number of alchemists managed to finish writing their answers, but they were also very nervous. After all, many of the answers were uncertain, and whether they could reach 300 points in the end was also an unknown. Everyone, please wait a moment. After we finish correcting everyone's answers, we will announce the candidates for the second round. Xia Yan smiled faintly and then led everyone to correct their answers. Ling Xiao, you won't get a 0 when the time comes, right? I'm sure that only I, Zhao Ritian, will be able to get more than 400 points. Most of these useless people will be eliminated. Zhao Ritian licked his lips and stuck close to Ling Xiao as he said arrogantly. Zhao Ritian was still a little upset. Although he was the second person to finish the question, Zhao Ritian was extremely displeased when he saw Ling Xiao's nonchalant attitude. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I don't know about the others, but if I get 300 points, you're definitely going to be my cornerstone. Ling Xiao glanced at Zhao Ritian and said. You? 300 points? Zhao Ritian laughed coldly and said, I think you're just blindly guessing. If you really get 300 points, I, Zhao Ritian, will eat all these cornerstones. Behind the door of the sage's hall, there were a total of 9 cornerstones. These cornerstones were square in shape, and the size of a human head. They were made of solid black granite, and were extremely sturdy. Even a spiritual equipment would not be able to leave a mark on them. You said it yourself. Don't regret it when the time comes. Ling Xiao glanced at Zhao Ritian and smiled faintly. Of course. A man's words carry enormous weight. If you can get 300 points, I will eat all 9 of those gate-guarding stones. However, if you lose, you'll have to kneel down and kowtow to me 9 times. Zhao Ritian patted his chest with a smug look on his face. No problem. If I lose, don't mention 9 kowtows, I'll even kowtow 100 times. Ling Xiao chuckled, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. It was very bright. On the other hand, Master Jiao Mu looked at Zhao Ritian with sympathy. This guy is really asking for trouble. Soon, Xia Yan returned. His gaze swept across the crowd, but it lingered on Ling Xiao for a moment. There was a strange and solemn look in his eyes. Cough, cough. Next, I'll announce the candidates for the second round. Xia Yan coughed lightly. Immediately, all the alchemists had an expectant look on their faces as they looked at Xia Yan nervously. First place, Zhao Ritian, 420 points. As soon as Xia Yan's voice fell, a palace guard immediately pasted Zhao Ritian's answer on the wall. 420 points. Oh my god. That's insane. In the sage's hall, there was an uproar. Many alchemists looked at Zhao Ritian with astonishment. Many of the 108 spiritual herbs were very obscure and difficult to find, let alone get all of them right. This Zhao Ritian was simply defying the heavens. Out of a total of 424 points, Zhao Ritian had actually obtained 420 points, losing only 4 points. What a monster! Even Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian in surprise. Although this guy was arrogant, he did have the right to be arrogant. You let me win, you let me win. Ha ha ha. Zhao Ritian laughed until his mouth was wide open. His face was filled with pride, and his entire body was exuding a flamboyant aura. It was as if he was saying, look at how awesome I am, come and praise me. Second place, Jiao Mu, 398 points. Third place, Chong He, 399 points. Fourth place, Chong Ming, 388 points. Xia Yan's voice echoed in the sage's hall. To everyone's surprise, Master Jiao Mu, who had just been promoted to Middle Alchemy Master not long ago, actually had a higher score than Master Chong He and Master Chong Ming, taking second place. On the other hand, Zhao Ritian was even more proud. He was almost wagging his tail. Indeed, he was the only one who had obtained more than 400 points. 17th place, Chen Shen, 325 points. 18th place, Zhao Mingho, 320 points. 28th place, Wang Duo, 301 points. 29th place, Zheng Ying, 300 points. Xia Yan announced all 29 names in one breath. After pausing for a moment, he smiled and said, congratulations to the 29 alchemists who have passed the identification round and entered the second round. However, before Xia Yan could finish his sentence, Zhao Ritian suddenly laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha. Ling Xiao, aren't you arrogant? Aren't you awesome? Why are you eliminated in the first round? I'm guessing that you didn't even get 10 points right. Hurry up and kneel down and kowtow to me. I, Zhao Ritian, am a man of my words. You're not going to go back on your words, are you? Zhao Ritian raised his nose to the sky and laughed out loud. He looked at Ling Xiao with a gloating expression. Chapter 225. Why are you in such a hurry? Master Xia is not done with his announcement. Ling Xiao glanced at him from the corner of his eyes and said nonchalantly. Do I even need to say it? Only 29 people passed the first round. Ling Xiao, you're not among them. Stop dawdling. If you're a man, kneel down and kowtow. Zhao Ritian's face was filled with excitement as he pointed his finger at Ling Xiao and said arrogantly. Young Master Zhao, I'm not done with my announcement. Xia Yan looked at Zhao Ritian awkwardly. He was speechless about this clown. However, knowing Zhao Ritian's identity, he did not dare to offend him. Huh? Zhao Ritian was stunned. Ling Xiao in 30th place, 300 points. Therefore, there are a total of 30 people who passed the first round. All of you will be able to proceed to the second round. Xia Yan finished his announcement in one breath. Zhao Ritian was dumbfounded. Xia Hongxiu was stunned. The rest of the alchemists were stunned as well. What the hell? Ling Xiao actually got 300 points. The rest of the alchemists almost vomited blood. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Even Zheng Ying in 29th place was a peerless alchemist. If Ling Xiao could get 300 points, wouldn't that mean that his knowledge of alchemy was comparable to a peerless alchemist? This was too unbelievable. Especially Zhao Ritian, his face turned green in an instant. Impossible. Impossible. Ling Xiao is not an alchemist. How could he get 300 points? He must have cheated. Even if he didn't, you must have made a mistake. Zhao Ritian was in a frenzy. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. His head was shaking like a rattle drum. His face was filled with disbelief. Xia Yan's face changed and his voice turned cold. Young Master Zhao, please conduct yourself with dignity. Everyone saw that Ling Xiao did not cheat when he was answering the questions just now. As for me making a mistake, this is Ling Xiao's answer. Take a look at it yourself. Xia Yan's hand glowed and Ling Xiao's answer was plastered on the wall. It showed Ling Xiao's answer to every question. Question 1, by Ling Long, 900 years. Correct. Question 2. Correct. Question 3. Correct. Question 74, correct. Question 75, correct. Question 76, huh? Why is there no answer for question 76? The rest of the alchemists' eyes were fixed on Ling Xiao's answer. There were no mistakes. But what shocked all the alchemists was that Ling Xiao actually only did 75 questions. The questions after that were all blank. He did this on purpose. The first 75 questions were all correct, and many of the answers gave people a sense of enlightenment. No one thought that Ling Xiao only knew 75 questions and did not know any of the remaining questions. It's really 300 points. Zhao Ritian was like a deflated balloon. He was dumbfounded. He looked like he had lost his soul. He could not believe it. He even suspected that Ling Xiao had cheated. However, when Ling Xiao's answer was posted, it shut everyone's mouth. Ling Xiao did get 300 points. It seemed like he still had some energy left. You're an alchemist too. Ling Xiao, you tricked me. Zhao Ritian suddenly thought of something. He stood up and pointed at Ling Xiao. His face was full of grievance. If he knew that Ling Xiao was an alchemist, Zhao Ritian would not have been so confident. In the end, he shot himself in the foot. Zhao Ritian felt wronged. Ling Xiao was too despicable. He was too cunning. He was too shameless. I never said that I don't know anything about alchemy. Ling Xiao smiled. He then turned around and walked to the back of the door. He moved the 9 gatekeeping stones over and threw them at Zhao Ritian's feet. Clang! The 9 gatekeeping stones made a crisp sound. Zhao Ritian was shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. Beads of sweat formed on Zhao Ritian's forehead. Zhao Ritian, keep your promise. As a man, you should keep your word. You won't go back on your words, right? Ling Xiao looked at the silent Zhao Ritian and said with a smile. Looking at the 9 gatekeeping stones, the crowd could not help but twitch their mouths. They felt their teeth hurt. If they ate such tough gatekeeping stones, they would break their teeth. Suddenly, the crowd looked at Zhao Ritian with sympathy. This This is too much. Why don't I eat one? Zhao Ritian could feel his legs turning to jelly. His teeth were aching as he looked at Ling Xiao with a tearful face. I can't believe that the #1 alchemy genius of the 8 Desolation region, the handsome and intelligent Zhao Ritian, is a scoundrel who goes back on his words. Sigh. Forget it. Since you're going back on your words, shameless, despicable, and untrustworthy. Ling Xiao sighed softly. His words made Zhao Ritian's face turn green. Stop, stop, stop. I, Zhao Ritian, am a man of my word. How can I go back on my words? Isn't it just 9 gatekeeping stones? I'll eat them. Zhao Ritian gritted his teeth and interrupted Ling Xiao's words. Crunch. Zhao Ritian grabbed one of the gatekeeping stones and bit into it. His teeth glowed faintly. After all, he had cultivated to the master level. His internal organs were strong, and his digestive ability was strong as well. Zhao Ritian's teeth were incomparably tough, and he was able to chew off a large piece of the suppressing stone in one bite. Zhao Ritian looked at Ling Xiao with anger. It was as if he was eating Ling Xiao's flesh and not the gatekeeping stone. Zhao Ritian chewed the gatekeeping stone and swallowed it in a few bites. However, the black granite was too tough. Even though Zhao Ritian's teeth were sharp, he still felt his teeth hurt. He was about to cry. The first one. Genius Xiao, there are still 8 more. Ling Xiao said with a smile. I don't need you to remind me. I, Zhao Ritian, am a man of my word. Zhao Ritian picked up another gatekeeping stone and started chewing on it. Everyone looked at him sympathetically. Even Xia Hongxiu had a strange look on her face. Soon, Zhao Ritian had chewed on 8 gatekeeping stones. He burped and picked up the 9th gatekeeping stone. Crunch. A crisp sound could be heard. The stone was extremely sturdy and there was no trace of damage. However, a few of Zhao Ritian's teeth were broken. His mouth was filled with blood and foam. He was in so much pain that tears were flowing out of his eyes. He started to wail. Diamond granite? Why is this gatekeeping stone made of diamond granite? Didn't you say it's black granite? All of you are bullying me. Even a piece of broken stone is bullying me. Zhao Ritian's face was filled with grievances. He started to wail. That was diamond granite. It was a treasure that could be used to craft weapons. It was extremely tough. It was hundreds of times tougher than black granite. No matter how tough Zhao Ritian's teeth were, they could not be compared to diamond granite. Which immoral bastard used diamond granite as a gatekeeping stone? Zhao Ritian was in so much pain that he wanted to kill someone. Young Master Zhao, I'm sorry. One of the black granite was broken. So, we used a diamond granite to replace it. I forgot to tell you, Xia Yan said awkwardly. Chapter 226. Why? Why didn't you say so earlier? My teeth, Zhao Ritian glared at Xia Yan with resentment. 2 of his front teeth were broken, causing him to speak with a lisp. His heart was filled with frustration. I forgot about it too. I'm really sorry, young Master Zhao. Xia Yan was extremely embarrassed. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. He wanted to laugh but did not dare to. It was extremely uncomfortable to hold it in. Who asked you to be so smug? Who asked you to bet with Ling Xiao? Who asked you to be so cocky? Great, now your front teeth are broken. Many alchemists were also secretly laughing as their faces flushed red from holding back their laughter. Brother Ritian, if you can't eat the last piece of suppressing stone, then forget it. Ling Xiao could not stand it anymore. He thought to himself, this kid is really honest. He actually ate the suppressing stone. Even Ling Xiao was a little embarrassed to cheat such an honest kid. Who says I can't eat it? What's a mere suppressing stone to me? I, Zhao Ritian, am a man of my word. I will do what I say. Zhao Ritian stuttered. His teeth were leaking and he could not speak clearly. However, he still patted his chest and promised. Boom! A light flashed in Zhao Ritian's mouth, and he spat out a ball of blazing flame. It was golden and red in color. As soon as it appeared in the air, a blazing aura spread out. It also exuded a faint heavenly might. It was mysterious and terrifying, and the crowd could not help but take a few steps back. It's the legendary scorching sun heavenly flame. Xia Yan's eyes were filled with shock. He could not help but exclaim. His face was filled with envy. This was the legendary heavenly flame. It was the flame that every alchemist dreamed of. With this scorching sun heavenly flame, even though Zhao Ritian was only a middle-grade alchemy master, his success rate in refining upper-grade supreme pills would be greatly increased. The heavenly flame was too rare. It was already extremely impressive for an ordinary alchemist to be able to obtain an earth flame. It was said that in the entire Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, only Ling Juechen and Pure Sun's spiritual master had an earth flame. After refining it, not only was its power boundless, it was also extremely helpful in refining pills. Zhao Ritian's first move was the legendary Scorching Sun Heavenly Flame. Looks like the legends about Zhao Ritian being born with powerful spiritual energy and being recognized by the Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire is true. Master Chonghe and the other alchemists were also envious. Their eyes were burning with passion. Heavenly Fire was incomparably powerful. It was born from the heavens and earth, and was extremely rare. Moreover, it required at least a heaven-tier elite to be able to refine it. Zhao Ritian was only a master, but he was able to refine the Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire. There was only one possibility. The Blazing Sun Heavenly Fire took the initiative to recognize him as its master. It really is the Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire. It seems that he should have passed away long ago, right? Looking at the Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire before him, Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a tinge of sadness. So what if it's just diamond rock? I, Zhao Ritian, am powerful. Zhao Ritian seemed to be enjoying the envious and worshipful gazes of the crowd. He smirked and charged towards Diamond Crag with his Blazing Sun Heavenly Fire. Boom! The Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire was extremely powerful. It contained the power of the heavens and earth. Even Ling Xiao felt a sense of danger. After all, even though the mixed golden lotus flame that he obtained was very powerful, it was only the highest grade of earth fire. It was far from reaching the level of heavenly fire. The extremely sturdy diamond rock began to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a moment, it had turned into flowing lava. It looked crystal clear and was extremely beautiful. Zhao Ritian took a big gulp and swallowed the flowing magma into his stomach. Many alchemists couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Wasn't Zhao Ritian afraid that his stomach would melt from the boiling diamond rock? However, on second thought, Zhao Ritian had already refined the Scorching Sun Heavenly Fire. This diamond rock was nothing to him. Ugh! Zhao Ritian burped. It seemed that other than his broken front teeth, which could not be recovered in a short period of time, he was full of energy. He did not feel any discomfort at all. How is it? Ling Xiao, I, Zhao Ritian, can even swallow a mountain. What are 9 sect guarding stones to me? Zhao Ritian said as he looked at Ling Xiao proudly. Ling Xiao was a little speechless. This fella clearly lost the bet, but he made it seem like he won. He did not learn from his mistakes and was extremely thick-skinned. Ling Xiao decided to ignore him. Alright. Next is the second round of the test. The 30 of you, follow me. Xia Yan calmed himself down and no longer looked at the clown Zhao Ritian. He said slowly to the crowd. The alchemists who were eliminated looked at the 30 of them with envy. The bet between Zhao Ritian and Ling Xiao had shocked them. They could feel that Ling Xiao was extraordinary. In the depths of the Celestial Master Hall, there was a long and narrow stone room. It was at least 100 feet long and was made of solid diamond rock. There was only a milky white jade wall at the end of the room. When he saw the diamond rock, Zhao Ritian's face darkened. He secretly felt a toothache. Everyone, the second round of the test is called the Golden Thread Godly Thread. Xia Yan swept his gaze across the crowd and said with a smile. Seeing the puzzled look on everyone's face, Xia Yan explained, this stone room is enveloped by a formation. When I activate the formation, a fist-sized earth fire will be born here. What you have to do is to use your mental strength and fire control skills to push the earth fire towards the jade wall. The earth fire will be stretched into a golden thread. Therefore, this round is also called the Golden Thread Godly Thread. As soon as Xia Yan finished speaking, a light flashed in his hand and he activated the formation in the stone room. Instantly, a fist-sized earth fire floated in front of everyone. It looked very ordinary. It was the most commonly used earth fire for alchemy. Whoosh! Xia Yan's eyes were like lightning. 2 resplendent rays of light shot out of his eyes. In a flash, his powerful spiritual energy filled the atmosphere. Under the control of his spiritual energy, the earth fire transformed into a long thread and extended forward. It looked like a golden thread which was filled with a strange luster. So this is the Golden Thread Godly Thread. Instantly, the alchemists understood. The Golden Thread Godly Thread tested the ability to control fire. Of course, the higher the level of the alchemist, the stronger the ability to control fire. The further the golden thread could extend. Therefore, this round tested the alchemist's mental strength and the ability to control fire. This stone room is 1,000 feet long. If you can reach 60 feet, you'll pass and can enter the third round. Xia Yan said slowly. If you can reach 1,000 feet and shoot it onto the jade wall, what does that mean? Zhao Ritian's eyes flashed as he asked. If you can reach 1,000 feet and shoot it onto the jade wall will light up completely. This means that you don't have to go through the third round of the test. You can directly meet the Imperial Advisor and the Pure Yang Spiritual Master. Xia Yan's eyes revealed a strange look. Chapter 227. 100 feet. That's easy. I'll definitely be the first. Zhao Ritian laughed arrogantly. His face was full of arrogance. 100 feet is indeed not easy. Brother Ritian, it's impossible for you to reach 100 feet. Ling Xiao said with a smile. After looking at the stone chamber, Ling Xiao's guess was further confirmed. The 3 stages of the alchemy conference were set up to find the pure yang primordial spirit. Ling Xiao was even more curious about what Pure Yang Spiritual Master and Ling Juechen had obtained. Take the golden silk divine thread for example. Although it was only 1,000 feet long, there were only 2 possibilities to make the golden silk divine thread extend that far. Either one had reached the alchemy grandmaster realm or one had a pure yang primordial spirit. Otherwise, it was impossible to do it. However, if Ling Xiao could use the secret skill of 9 dragons playing with pearls, he might be able to extend it to 100 feet long. After all, the 9 dragons playing with pearls that Ling Xiao created was too powerful. A mere golden god thread would not be able to stop him. It's impossible for me to reach 100 feet. Ling Xiao, you said it yourself. Why don't we make another bet? Zhao Ritian widened his eyes and looked at Ling Xiao. What's wrong? Haven't you had enough of the diamond rock? Ling Xiao glanced at him and said. You, bastard. Zhao Ritian gritted his teeth. His handsome face was twitching as he said, Ling Xiao, let's not talk about what happened just now. I'm asking you if you dare to make a bet with me. Senior brother Zhao, let's not make any more bets. Ling Xiao is too evil. Anyone who tries to make things difficult for him ends up in a bad situation. Xia Hongxiu smiled bitterly as he looked at Zhao Ritian. No, I have to get back up from where I fell. I have to make a bet with him. Ling Xiao, if I win this time, you have to give me 9 sex-suppressing stones. Do you dare? Zhao Ritian said firmly as he stared at Ling Xiao. Oh. What if you lose? Ling Xiao's voice was calm. If I lose, I'll eat 9 sex-suppressing stones. Zhao Ritian said. I'm not interested in watching you eat sex-suppressing stones. Ling Xiao's words caused Zhao Ritian to fly into a rage. Then what do you want to bet? Zhao Ritian squeezed the words out from between his teeth. It's simple. If you lose, you have to give me one of the scorching sun heavenly flame sub-flames. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Like an old fox, he finally revealed his intentions. Blazing sun heavenly flame sub-fire seed. Don't even think about it. Zhao Ritian jumped to his feet and looked at Ling Xiao cautiously. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This Ling Xiao was really asking for an exorbitant price. The origin kindling of the earth fire and heaven fire was extremely precious. If one could refine it, they would be able to fully unleash the power of the heaven and earth spirit fire. Just like Zhao Ritian's scorching sun heavenly fire, he must have refined the origin fire seed of the scorching sun heavenly fire. Otherwise, it would have dissipated long ago. The sub-fire seed contained a trace of the origin energy of the spiritual fire of heaven and earth. It was also extracted from the spiritual fire of heaven and earth. If the blazing sun heavenly flame were to lose a trace of its flame seed, although it wouldn't be a big deal, it would definitely damage the blazing sun heavenly flame's origin. It would take a very long time for it to fully recover its power. The ardent sun heavenly fire seed flame was much more powerful than ordinary earth fire. It could exist in the body for a long time. That was why Zhao Ritian said that Ling Xiao was asking for an exorbitant price. Forget it if you don't want to bet. I don't care if you don't give it to me. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Why don't you change it? I definitely can't give you the ardent sun heavenly fire seed flame. You can choose from the other weapons and supreme pills. Zhao Ritian was unwilling to give up and insisted on betting with Ling Xiao. No. I only want the ardent sun heavenly fire seed flame. If not, forget it. I don't want to see you eat the gate-suppressing stone anyway. Ling Xiao rejected immediately. Zhao Ritian was jumping around anxiously at the side. However, Ling Xiao was unmoved. He insisted on the ardent sun heavenly fire seed flame. Brother Ritian, are you a man? Why are you being so wishy-washy? Since you believe that you will win, what's there to be afraid of? Ling Xiao finally said impatiently. All right. I'll bet. Zhao Ritian gritted his teeth and said solemnly. Very well. Then I'll congratulate Brother Ritian in advance for your golden divine thread to break through 1,000 feet and illuminate the white jade wall. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ling Xiao, just you wait. I'll definitely win. This time, I want to see how you're going to eat the 9 diamond gate suppressing stones. When the time comes, I hope you won't cry and beg for mercy. Zhao Ritian sneered. He could already imagine Ling Xiao eating the diamond gate suppressing stones until his mouth bled and he begged for mercy. Instantly, the gloominess in his heart lessened. Is that so? Ling Xiao smiled. He was not angry at all. He felt that Zhao Ritian was really a child of wealth. He was also an honest person who always kept his word. Who else could he trick if not him? After Ling Xiao formed the heaven-devouring spirit seed, the mixed Yuan golden lotus fire had evolved into the heaven-devouring fire. Although the heaven-devouring fire was very powerful, it was only comparable to the power of the earth fire. If it wanted to continue evolving, it would have to continuously devour the heaven and earth spiritual fire. Even if he could not obtain the real ardent sun heavenly fire, swallowing the seed flame of the ardent sun heavenly fire would still be beneficial to the heaven-devouring fire. Therefore, Ling Xiao was very happy. The more he looked at Zhao Ritian, the more he liked him. 30 people would be tested from the 30th place onwards. Ling Xiao was the 30th place. Therefore, he naturally became the first candidate to take the test. The golden thread tested one's mental strength and the ability to control fire. If the first test was the identification test, as long as one had a deep understanding of alchemy, they might be able to pass it. However, if one did not have a strong mental strength, it would be impossible to pass the second test. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to seeing how far Ling Xiao would go. Buzz! A red flame rose and floated in front of Ling Xiao. It gave off a faint glow. Ling Xiao smiled. Suddenly, a strong mental strength spread out and wrapped around the flame in front of him. Then, he pulled out a golden thread and extended it forward. 3 feet. 5 feet. 10 feet, the speed at which the golden thread extended was very slow. However, it was very uniform as it extended forward. When the golden thread extended to 10 feet, the crowd was still able to remain calm. However, when the golden thread extended to more than 500 feet and there was no change in its speed, the crowd's face changed. Is Ling Xiao really an alchemist? With his mental strength, I'm afraid he has already reached the level of an unparalleled alchemist. That might not be the case. Who knows, the test this time might be very simple. If Ling Xiao can pass it, we can definitely pass it too. Many of the alchemists' faces relaxed. They felt that the so-called golden divine thread was not as difficult as they had imagined. Chapter 228. Ling Xiao focused his mental strength and felt that the space in front of him had turned into chaos. There were traces of pure yang qi in the air, hot and powerful. The yang energy in his mental strength made it easier for him to trigger the golden thread and pierce through the void. He is indeed looking for a pure yang primordial spirit. 600 feet meant that the yang energy in his mental strength had reached 60%. An ordinary alchemy master or someone who had mastered a powerful fire control technique could do it. However, if he wanted to pierce through 100 feet of void and light up the jade wall, he would need a pure yang primordial spirit. Although Zhao Ritian's mental strength was strong, it was not a pure yang primordial spirit. Looks like this kid is going to give away his wealth again. Ling Zhao's lips curled into a smile. When Ling Zhao's golden thread pierced through 590 feet of void, he felt that there was an invisible barrier at 600 feet. It was extremely tough and difficult to penetrate. A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes, and the golden line instantly pierced through the barrier, stopping at a distance of 600 zhang. Looks like if I don't have some tricks up my sleeve, even an inferior alchemy master might fail miserably. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and retreated. Zhao Ritian's eyes flashed with a hint of fear. He did not expect Ling Xiao to be an alchemy master, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Luckily, he did not bet on whether Ling Xiao would pass or not. Otherwise, he would probably cry again. Ling Xiao was too cunning. Ling Xiao, 600 feet. Pass. Xia Yan looked at Ling Xiao in surprise but still announced Ling Xiao's result. Xia Yan could also feel that Ling Xiao still had some energy left. However, he stopped at 600 feet. However, Xia Yan did not expose him. Instead, he called out to the second person, next, Zheng Ying. Zheng Ying was a peerless alchemy master. At the beginning, he was very nervous. However, when he saw that Ling Xiao had reached 600 feet, he was slightly relieved. Flames rose and Zheng Ying controlled the golden thread to extend forward. The first 400 feet were easy. However, after 400 feet, Zheng Ying felt that it was a little strenuous. In the end, he stopped at 450 feet. Zheng Ying, 450 feet. Fail. Xia Yan's voice rang out. Zheng Ying's face revealed a trace of disappointment as he retreated. The crowd was shocked. It seemed that the golden divine thread was not simple. However, Ling Zhao's mental strength had surpassed Zheng Ying's by so much. Didn't that mean that Ling Zhao's mental strength had surpassed that of a peerless alchemist and was comparable to that of a high-grade alchemist? The third was Wang Duo, a peerless apothecary. Even though he managed to reach a height of 490 zhang, he still failed the examination. Everyone's expression began to turn serious. Wang Qi, 590 feet, disqualified. Duncan, 590 feet, disqualified. Zhao Mingho, 580 zhang, disqualified. Chunshen, 610 zhang, pass. Following this, more than a dozen people failed one after another. Even several low-rank alchemy grandmasters stopped at the 590 feet mark, unable to advance any further. 590 feet was already their limit. As for the bottleneck of 600 feet, there was no way for them to break through. However, what was surprising was that although Master Chun Shen was also a low-grade alchemy master, he had reached 610 feet, which was a pass. In the following assessment, the expressions of many alchemists became heavier and heavier. Other than Master Chun Shen, all the other low-rank alchemy grandmasters stopped at 590 feet. Chong Ming, 690 feet, pass. Chong He, 690 feet, pass. Jiao Mu, 790 feet, pass. After the announcement, even Xia Yan could not help but reveal a hint of shock in his eyes. This was because he had tried it himself. After 600 feet, there would be a barrier every 10 feet that required mental strength to break through. Even though he was a middle-grade alchemy master, he could only stop at 690 feet, just like Master Chong Ming and Master Chong He. Master Jiao Mu, a newly promoted middle-grade alchemy master, had actually reached 790 feet. How could he not be shocked? When Master Jiao Mu saw the result, he was also in disbelief. He then looked at Ling Xiao gratefully. At the last moment, if he had not used the two dragons playing with a pearl technique that Ling Xiao had imparted to him to increase his mental strength, he would not have been able to break through the bottleneck of 790 feet, let alone reach 790 feet. Last one, Zhao Ritian. Under the expectant gazes of the crowd, Zhao Ritian stepped onto the stage. You bunch of trash. You can't even break through such a simple mental strength barrier. Watch me, Zhao Ritian, break through all the barriers in one go and reach 100 feet. I'll show you what a peerless genius is. Zhao Ritian's rotten mouth offended everyone the moment he opened his mouth. Even Xia Yan's face darkened. Zhao Ritian's words had included him in the conversation. Zhao Ritian, you're too arrogant. Someone could not help but say. His face was filled with anger. Zhao Ritian placed his hands behind his back. He was extremely arrogant. When he heard that, he sneered and said, go ahead if you can. If you can't, don't fuck me. Next, I'll let you all witness the moment I, Zhao Ritian, create a miracle. Before he started, Zhao Ritian did not forget to look at Ling Xiao and said, Ling Xiao, just you wait and eat 9 pieces of diamond rock. This time, I'll win for sure. Boom! A powerful aura was emitted from Zhao Ritian's body. That was the fluctuation of mental strength. It was vast and powerful like the ocean. Many of the angry alchemists were shocked. Although Zhao Ritian was arrogant, he had the right to be arrogant. His mental strength was strong and pure. It was far beyond the average middle-grade alchemy master. They had only seen it from Ling Juechen and Chunyang Zhenren. Everyone's faces began to reveal a trace of anticipation. Could it be that Zhao Ritian could really create a miracle? Zhao Ritian was wearing a white robe. He had a slender body and a handsome face. His black hair fluttered in the wind. He had the aura of a peerless genius. However, the smug and arrogant look on his face ruined his image. Even Xia Hongxiu could not bear to look at him. Zhao Ritian was just too showy. Boom! A crimson flame rose up. Zhao Ritian stood with his hands behind his back. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then, he pointed out a finger. Golden lines flickered within the flame. Instantly, it shot forward like an arrow leaving the bow. 10 feet. 20 feet. 30 feet, in the blink of an eye, the golden line had pierced through 500 feet of space. Its speed did not show any signs of slowing down. 600 feet barrier, broken. 700 feet barrier, broken. 800 feet barrier, Broken. Zhao Ritian pierced through 800 feet of space in one breath. Moreover, the speed of the golden line was extremely fast. Instantly, everyone was stunned. Their eyes were filled with shock. Although they had already overestimated Zhao Ritian, they felt that they had still underestimated him after witnessing the scene before them. Zhao Ritian was arrogant, but he had the right to be arrogant. Chapter 229. Boom! The golden thread was like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, it pierced through 900 feet of space, emitting a dazzling radiance. Could he really break through 100 feet of space in one go? An alchemist felt his mouth dry up and his voice trembled. It's possible. It's simply too perverted. He is indeed the most demonic alchemy genius in the 8 Desolates region. Many alchemists were convinced. No matter how angry they were just now, after seeing the scene in front of them, all of their anger dissipated. That's right. Compared to Zhao Ritian, they were all trash. Ling Xiao squinted his eyes. Zhao Ritian's mental strength was indeed powerful and extremely pure. It contained a powerful yang qi. Using the scorching sun heavenly fire to refine his soul. Interesting. Ling Xiao's eyes sparkled as a smile appeared on his face. After the golden thread pierced through 900 feet of space, it began to slow down. However, it still continued to move forward slowly. 910 feet, 920 feet, 950 feet, 960 feet, 970 feet, as the golden thread got closer to the white jade wall, everyone became more nervous. Their hearts were in their mouths as they stared at the golden thread. 990 feet. After the golden thread pierced through 900 feet of space, it began to slow down. Beads of sweat appeared on Zhao Ritian's forehead. Break it. Zhao Ritian let out a low roar as a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. When he truly controlled the golden thread, Zhao Ritian could feel the difference in this space. Especially towards the end, the last 10 feet of space was like a wall. Every inch forward required a great deal of effort. When the golden thread had advanced 99 feet and 9 inches, it could not advance any further when it was just an inch away from reaching its destination. It was as if there was an invisible barrier that blocked the path of the golden thread. I don't believe it. I don't believe that this last inch can stop me. The sun rises from the east, illuminating the heavens and earth. Break it. Zhao Ritian's eyes turned crimson red. He formed a seal with both of his hands and light surged behind him. It was as if a vast ocean had appeared, and a blazing sun had jumped out of the ocean and rose high into the sky, exuding a powerful concept. On the other hand, Zhao Ritian's spiritual energy seemed to have increased by a notch as he charged towards the invisible barrier in front of him. 10 suns crossing sky secret technique? How could Zhao Ritian know such a secret technique? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as a glint flashed across his eyes. The secret skill that Zhao Ritian used was the 10 suns sky secret skill that Ling Xiao was familiar with. It was created by the medicine Celestial Venerable hundreds of millions of years ago. Together with Ling Xiao's 9 Dragons Pearl secret skill, they were the 2 most powerful fire-controlling secret skills in the world. However, Zhao Ritian could only execute 1 sun traversing the sky at the moment. He was still far from reaching the level of medicine Celestial Venerable's 10 suns traversing the sky, which could incinerate the heavens and earth. Could it be that Zhao Ritian is related to medicine Empyrean? Ling Xiao frowned slightly. Boom! After using the 10 suns crossing sky secret technique, the spiritual energy on the golden thread increased tremendously. However, it still did not advance an inch after colliding with the invisible barrier. In the end, Zhao Ritian could only give up helplessly with a dejected look on his face. Zhao Ritian, 999 feet, pass. After a long while, Xia Yan finally reacted. He suppressed the shock in his heart and hurriedly announced. At this moment, many alchemists were already dumbfounded. They had personally experienced it once, so they naturally knew how difficult it was to make the golden thread advance. However, Zhao Ritian had actually reached 999 feet. He was only an inch away from completion. In the secret chamber of the Celestial Master Hall. Spiritual Master Chun Yang's eyes dimmed as he said, "It seems that the person with the pure yang primordial spirit isn't Zhao Ritian. If it's the pure yang primordial spirit, it could easily penetrate 1,000 feet of void. Although he's only an inch away, he's not even an inch away. What should we do then? Old friend, if Zhao Ritian doesn't have the pure yang primordial spirit, then the others won't make it. Didn't you say that the Tianji divination showed that a pure yang primordial spirit would appear this time?" This made Zhu Chen a little anxious. "No, there's still one person I can't see through." Spiritual Master Chun Yang's eyes flickered with a brilliant light as he looked at Ling Xiao. "Even I was wrong about him. Ling Xiao is definitely a master alchemist, and a mid-tier one at that. He was lazy in the first and second stages. I couldn't see his limit at all." Spiritual Master Chun Yang looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly. Zhu Chen was slightly taken aback, but he nodded and said, "In the first stage, he was able to get all 75 questions correct and pass with 300 points. This means that he has absolute confidence and certainty. In the second stage, he only stopped at 600 feet. This kid is obviously pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Could it be that the person with the pure yang primordial spirit is really him?" Zhu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He also found it hard to believe that the son of his old friend had undergone such a huge change in just 3 years. Not only was his martial arts extraordinary, but even his alchemy was so abnormal. It's only a possibility. The most important thing is still the third stage. Let's see the results of the third stage. Spiritual Master Chun Yang sighed softly. Although everyone in the Celestial Master Hall was shocked by Zhao Ritian's ability to pierce through 999 zhang of space, Zhao Ritian was very dissatisfied. This was especially so when he saw Ling Xiao walking towards him with a smile on his face. His entire body shuddered, and his face turned green. This meant that he had lost the bet again. The price he had to pay this time was not as simple as gnawing on a few cornerstone stones. He had to strip the blazing sun heavenly flames flame seed. Thinking of this, Zhao Ritian felt his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys begin to hurt. "Brother Ritian, 999 zhang. Ling Xiao is truly ashamed of my inferiority. You're really too awesome. However, 999 zhang isn't 100 zhang. Shouldn't you hand over the blazing sun heavenly flames flame seed?" Ling Xiao said with a smile. When Zhao Ritian heard the first half of Ling Xiao's sentence, he felt that this fellow had finally said something nice. However, the second half of Ling Xiao's sentence caused his face to darken. "Isn't it just the blazing sun heavenly flames flame seed? I, Zhao Ritian, am a man of my word. I will do as I say." Zhao Ritian pretended to be calm and collected. However, his heart was bleeding. This was the blazing sun heavenly flames flame seed. If those old fogies in the sect knew that he had lost the blazing sun heavenly flames flame seed so easily, they would probably kill him. However, Zhao Ritian was an honest child after all. He could not bring himself to act shamelessly. Boom! A bright light flashed in Zhao Ritian's mouth. Instantly, he spat out a dazzling flame seed. It was the size of a fist, and looked like a small sun. It emitted a dazzling light. After the flame seed of the blazing sun heavenly flame appeared, the space trembled slightly. A powerful heavenly aura spread out, causing everyone's heart to skip a beat. Chapter 230. Separate. Zhao Ritian shouted as he pointed his finger like a sword. Runes filled his hand as he slashed at the flame seed. Suddenly, a dazzling radiance burst out, causing everyone to feel dizzy. A flame seed the size of a longan was separated. It was filled with a mysterious radiance as it floated beside the real flame seed. It looked like two suns, one big and one small. Zhao Ritian's face was a little red. The scorching sun heavenly flame was connected to his life. Stripping the flame seed would cause him some backlash. Here you go. Zhao Ritian swallowed the scorching sun heavenly fire seed that had shrunk in size. He then pointed at the scorching sun heavenly fire seed and sent it flying towards Ling Xiao. Bastard! I've given you the flame seed. If you can't catch it, don't blame me for being rude. Zhao Ritian gritted his teeth as he thought to himself. His heart was bleeding. After stripping such a large flame seed, the scorching sun heavenly flame would have to refine a large amount of fire attribute treasures in order to recover its original power. Zhao Ritian's heart ached at the thought of this. At the same time, he felt resentment towards Xia Hongxiu. What kind of bullshit alchemy conference was this? How could he meet a jinx like Ling Xiao? He was really unlucky. The flame seed of the scorching sun heavenly flame flew towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's expression was calm as he revealed a faint smile. How could he not see Zhao Ritian's intention? If one did not have a special way to control the flame seed, it would be difficult to refine it. It was a hot potato. Didn't you see that the surrounding alchemists had retreated far away? All of them were fearful and greedy. No one dared to step forward. Ling Xiao, let me help you. Master Jiaomu gritted his teeth and rushed forward to help Ling Xiao refine the flame seed. After all, Ling Xiao was only in the Dragon Tiger realm. If he were to refine the flame seed rashly, the flame seed might turn into ashes. No need. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Then, his eyes flashed and he suddenly opened his mouth to swallow. The sub-fire seed immediately turned into a flame and was swallowed by Ling Xiao. He swallowed it directly. Is Ling Xiao courting death? Ling Xiao's actions stunned many of the alchemists. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Without any way to control the flame, swallowing the flame seed rashly was like eating arsenic. He must be tired of living. However, what was more shocking was that after Ling Xiao swallowed the flame seed, not only was he not burned, he even burped as if nothing had happened. Demon! Even Xia Yan could not help but changed his expression as he laughed bitterly. Ling, you lied to me. Zhao Ritian seemed to have thought of something as he pointed at Ling Xiao with an aggrieved expression. Since when did I lie to you? Ling Xiao glanced at Zhao Ritian. You. Zhao Ritian seemed to have suddenly understood what was going on. He was so angry that he started cursing. That I didn't force you to make a bet with me, did I? You're the one who's blind. You can't see that there's something wrong with the second stage. How dare you boast about it? Let's fight if you're unhappy. Ling Xiao laughed coldly. Zhao Ritian shrunk his neck and said unwillingly, Ling Xiao, just you wait. Wait until I, Zhao Ritian, master my divine skill. I'll beat you up until your mother can't recognize you. Don't wait. Come now. I promise I'll beat you up until no one can recognize you. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He clenched his fists and a strong fist intent burst out. All right. Everyone, listen to me. Those who can enter the third stage are Zhao Ritian, Jiaomu, Chonghe, Chongming, Chen Shen, and Ling Xiao. The 6 of you, follow me. Xia Yan quickly stopped Ling Xiao and said with a bitter smile. Zhao Ritian and Ling Xiao were really troublesome. They had been fighting for so long, and they still hadn't stopped. If these two guys were to fight, they might really turn the Celestial Master Hall upside down. I'll give Elder Xia some face. Ling Xiao, just you wait. Zhao Ritian laughed coldly and followed Xia Yan. His footsteps were very fast, not giving Ling Xiao a chance to speak. Ling Xiao shook his head. He was getting more and more speechless by this clown. When they reached the depths of the Celestial Master Hall, a huge space appeared. The surroundings were dark, and countless stars appeared above their heads. Starlight sprinkled down, making everyone feel as though they were in the middle of a galaxy. It was dreamy and mysterious. The third stage is called the Great Solar Spiritual Realm. This place is covered by a formation. Try your best to visualize the starry sky in front of you. Your mental strength will be pulled into an illusory spiritual realm as though you're sitting on the sun. The rules of this stage are very simple. As long as you can last for more than 2 hours in the spiritual realm, you'll pass. Xia Yan said slowly and explained the rules to them. It can pull mental strength into an illusory spiritual realm. What a magical formation! Both Master Chonghe and Master Chongming revealed a hint of surprise in their eyes. Great Solar Spiritual Realm. It's indeed a way to test the pure yang primordial spirit. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as he understood. After hearing Xia Yan's explanation, Zhao Ritian laughed proudly. Great Solar Spiritual Realm. I feel that other than me, none of you trash can last for more than 2 hours. You have no idea what it's like to sit on the sun and shine on the starry sky. Brother Ritian, since you're so awesome, why don't we make another bet? Let's bet on who can last longer. How about it? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at Zhao Ritian with a smile. Bet? Forget it. Zhao Ritian's face stiffened as he laughed dryly. The previous 2 bets had caused him to lose everything. Ling Xiao had already become a shadow in his heart. Now that the word bet was mentioned, he was subconsciously afraid. Don't tell me you think you can last longer than me. How is that possible? Who do you think I am? The #1 alchemy genius in the 8 Desolates region. I've never been afraid of anyone in the field of alchemy. However, I'm not going to bet with you. Your provocation won't work. Zhao Ritian said proudly. However, he had learned to be smart. No matter what Ling Xiao said, he was not willing to bet. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and did not mind. Wang! A slight buzzing sound could be heard as the array was activated. Ling Xiao, Zhao Ritian, and the rest of the 6 sat in the darkness. Their surroundings were pitch black. The stars above their heads shone with cold light, making them look extremely mysterious. A mysterious light shone down. Ling Xiao extended his mental strength and felt that the light was changing. He had arrived in an unknown galaxy. Great Solar Spiritual Realm. It's indeed unique. Ling Xiao exclaimed as he felt the scorching aura coming from below him. Around him was a vast galaxy. Huge stars rotated, ancient and mysterious. They gave off a deathly and vast aura. The place where Ling Xiao appeared was above a huge sun. Blazing flames spread out, giving off a scorching and terrifying aura. It was as if it was going to melt everything into nothingness. Even though Ling Xiao knew that the sun was illusory, he could still feel the scorching heat and pain. It was as if his soul was being burned by the flames. The pain was indescribable. It's not a pure yang primordial spirit after all. However, since it's able to set up the great solar spiritual realm, it must have yang soul stones. Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Ling Xiao sighed softly as a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 231. Although this was the illusory Great Sun spiritual realm, the pain he felt was incomparably real. That kind of soul-tearing pain was enough to make ordinary people go crazy. Ling Xiao could clearly see that there were wisps of black qi in his mind. That was the qi of extreme yin that came with the innate qi. In Ling Xiao's spirit, yang god energy occupied 80% and yin god energy occupied 20%. This kind of talent was extremely good, but it was still far from the level of pure yang primordial spirit. The pure yang primordial spirit's mental strength was filled with the supreme yang divine power. Therefore, even if one visualized the great sun and sat cross-legged on the Milky Way sun, one would not feel any pain. This was also how the great sun spirit realm cultivators identified the pure yang primordial spirit. The more yin energy one had, the more pain one would have to endure. If one's soul had not reached the level of a pure yang primordial spirit, one wouldn't even be able to endure for an hour, let alone 2 hours. However, how strong was Ling Xiao's willpower? That kind of pain spread, but Ling Xiao's gaze was still very calm. The Yang Soul Stone is a supreme treasure of pure Yang. Most likely, even those two old fellows, Zhu Chen and Taoist pure Yang, don't know what's good for them. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, a hint of excitement in his eyes. The main purpose of the Great Solar Spirit Tier was not to examine the pure Yang primordial spirit, but to forge the pure Yang primordial spirit. Using the extreme Yang energy in the Yang Soul Stone, one could refine the Yin energy in one's mind, allowing one's mind to finally condense and transform into a pure Yang primordial spirit. Wang. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged on top of the sun. His body was surrounded by raging flames. It was scorching hot and terrifying. Ling Xiao's body emitted a sliver of golden light that transformed into a faint whirlpool. It began to slowly devour the divine power of the sun around him. Ling Xiao knew that it was precisely the power of the Yang Soul Stone that was burning his spirit and causing him pain. And at this moment, Ling Xiao took the initiative to absorb the Yang Soul Stone. Slivers of golden light merged into Ling Xiao's soul, and slivers of black qi slowly dissipated, turning into nothingness. Ling Xiao knew that black qi was the Yin God power that was innately carried, and only Yang Soul Stones could refine it. Ling Xiao's entire body glowed, and there was a warm feeling all over his body. It was an indescribable comfort, and that feeling of pain slowly dissipated. Boom! Ling Xiao inhaled and exhaled extreme Yang divine power, and the galaxy around him trembled. Endless light enveloped him, and it was as if the entire world was trembling along with his breathing. Ling Xiao entered a state of cultivation. Zhao Ritian, Grandmaster Jiao Mu, Grandmaster Chong He, Grandmaster Chong Ming, and Grandmaster Chun Shen also visualized the starry sky and entered the Great Sun spiritual realm. However, after just 15 minutes, Grandmaster Chun Shen, Grandmaster Chong Ming, and Grandmaster Chong He exited from the illusory Great Sun spiritual realm. Their faces were filled with terror, and their faces were abnormally red. That kind of soul-burning pain made them almost go crazy, so they endured it for a quarter of an hour, but they couldn't endure it anymore. However, Grandmaster Jiaomu managed to hold on for an hour, but he soon woke up. It's too terrifying. This Great Sun spiritual tier is really strange. I wonder how long young Master Ling and Zhao Ritian can last. Master Jiaomu thought to himself as he looked at Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian, who were still sitting cross-legged in the array formation. In the secret chamber of the Celestial Master Hall, Ling Zhu Chen and Spiritual Master Chun Yang were both paying close attention to the third stage. Although this Great Sun spiritual realm is a formation that we've set up, we also know of its existence, but we don't know the reason behind its existence. That precious Yang attribute stone is clearly an extraordinary item, and you're actually willing to take it out? Looks like you're going all out for the soul returning pill. Ling Zhu Chen looked at Spiritual Master Chun Yang and said, "We don't have much time left. We must refine the soul returning pill as soon as possible. No matter how precious that stone is, it's useless if it can't be converted into strength. Let's hope that my guess is right." Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian might really be the key to refining the soul returning pill. Spiritual Master Chun Yang sighed lightly. You've already eliminated Zhao Ritian. Doesn't that mean that Ling Xiao might have a pure Yang primordial spirit? That brat hit it too deeply. Even I was fooled by him. Ling Zhu Chen said with some dissatisfaction. That might not be the case. I can't see through either of them. Even my heavenly secrets divination can't see through their destinies. How strange. There was a hint of doubt in Reverend Pure Yang's aged eyes. Great Sun spiritual realm. Time passed by slowly. 2 hours were almost up. Suddenly, a muffled groan could be heard. Zhao Ritian woke up. Zhao Ritian's face was extremely ugly. A trace of fear could be seen in his eyes. In the Great Sun spiritual realm, Zhao Ritian felt as though he was about to die. Zhao Ritian was a genius. 99% of his mental energy was Yang God energy. There was only a small trace of Yin God energy. However, it was this small trace of Yin God energy that caused him to suffer extreme pain when he was about to reach the 2 hours mark. It was as though he was thrown into the sun. His entire body began to burn and melt. His soul was burned into nothingness. The pain was indescribable. In the end, Zhao Ritian could not hold on any longer. He retreated from the great sun's spiritual realm. You're all awake. Even though I didn't reach the 2 hours mark, you guys woke up earlier than me. What about Ling Xiao? Did he wake up long ago? Did he run away because he was too embarrassed to face anyone? Zhao Ritian sneered. His face was extremely ugly. He did not think that Ling Xiao would be able to last longer than him. There was only one possibility. Ling Xiao had failed long ago. Young Master Zhao, Ling Xiao is still in the Great Sun's spiritual realm. Xia Yan laughed bitterly. A trace of shock could be seen in his eyes as he gestured towards a certain direction. Zhao Ritian's face froze. He turned around and saw Ling Xiao sitting in the darkness. His entire body was filled with a strange mental energy. He seemed to be in a deep state of Tao comprehension. How is this possible? Why hasn't he woken up yet? Zhao Ritian's face was filled with disbelief. He had experienced the Great Sun's spiritual realm personally. He knew how terrifying it was. Furthermore, Zhao Ritian had also discovered the secret of the Great Sun's spiritual realm. The more Yin God energy one had, the more painful it would be. He only had a trace of Yin God energy. Yet, he had almost died from the pain. Ling Xiao's talent could not be stronger than his, right? But why wasn't Ling Xiao awake yet? Young Master Zhao, the array is working well. This means that Ling Xiao is still in the Great Sun's spiritual realm. Xia Yan said slowly. A trace of shock could be seen in his eyes. Even Xia Yan could not believe that Ling Xiao would be the one to reach the end. I knew it. Young Master Ling would definitely be the one to pass. Master Jiaomu chuckled. His eyes were filled with excitement. His admiration for his young master had long reached the point of blindness. No matter what, he would always believe in Ling Xiao. 2 hours passed very quickly, and Ling Xiao was still in the Great Sun's spiritual realm. The only difference was that Ling Xiao's body started to emit strands of golden light. It was extremely pure and contained a trace of mysterious runes. Chapter 232. The Great Solar Spirit Realm was indeed an illusory realm. When an ordinary person's spirit was pulled into it, they could only passively endure it. But Ling Xiao had long understood the secrets of the Great Solar Spirit Realm and knew that if he wanted to set it up, he had to have Yang Soul Stones. As for the Great Solar Spirit Mirror and Yang Soul Stone, they could only be set up in the Holy Land of the Martial Way 10,000 years ago. Therefore, Ling Xiao guessed that Ling Juechen and spiritual master Pure Yang had probably obtained the soul return pill recipe and Yang Soul Stone from some ancient ruins. Ling Xiao cultivated the heaven-devouring mystic technique, so he could also devour and refine the power of the Yang Soul Stones. Thus, he decided to stay in the Great Solar Spiritual Realm and continuously refine the power of the Yang Soul Stones to increase his spiritual power. The Yin God power was refined bit by bit. The Yang God power emitted a brilliant light and slowly strengthened. Moreover, Ling Xiao felt that his spirit power seemed to have broken through a layer of barrier and entered a vast ocean. High-grade alchemy master realm. Who would have thought that refining the Yang Soul Stones would actually allow Ling Xiao's spirit power to break through? Just like that, Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the Great Solar Spirit Realm, forgetting everything and sinking into a deep state of Tao comprehension. Who would have thought that the pure Yang essence spirit is really him? Looks like we were all deceived by this brat. In the secret chamber, Ling Juchen's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Even though he had long guessed that Ling Xiao might be the person with the pure Yang essence spirit, he still found it hard to believe at this moment. It shouldn't be wrong. Now, when he wakes up from the Great Solar Spirit Realm, we can start refining the soul return pill. As long as we break through to the noble realm, we will definitely be able to fight for a great opportunity. Thinking of this, Spiritual Master Pure Yang's eyes could not help but reveal a trace of excitement. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the great solar spirit realm for 3 days and 3 nights. When the last trace of the Yang Soul Stone's power was refined and absorbed by him, he slowly woke up. Increased Yang God power by 1%. This Yang Soul Stone is really a legendary pure Yang treasure. If I have a few dozen pieces, perhaps I can recover to the pure Yang essence spirit realm. A trace of pity appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Originally, his Yang God power had only reached 80%. Now, after refining the power of the Yang Soul Stone, it reached 81%. Spirit was born from the heavens, where Yin and Yang coexisted. It was extremely difficult to refine Yin God energy. Normally, one could only refine it by raising their cultivation level. Only a heaven-defying pure Yang treasure like the Yang Soul Stone could refine Yin God power and cultivate a pure Yang primordial spirit. When Ling Xiao opened his eyes, he saw 2 figures in front of him. One of them had white hair and a beard, and was dressed in a white robe. He looked like a transcendent being, and his eyes were filled with vicissitudes and wisdom. One of them had a handsome face and wore a black robe. His long black hair draped over his shoulders, and he looked confident and unrestrained. He seemed to be in his 30s or 40s, and his entire body emitted a powerful aura. The white-haired old man was Spiritual Master Chun Yang. As for the black-robed middle-aged man, Ling Xiao felt a sense of familiarity. He was the Grand Wilderness's imperial advisor, Ling Juechen. Young friend Ling, we meet again. Sage Pure Yang said with a smile. Greetings, Spiritual Master Pure Yang. Uncle, long time no see. Ling Xiao smiled as his gaze landed on Spiritual Master Chun Yang and Ling Juechen's faces. A trace of awkwardness appeared in Ju Chen's eyes. He coughed lightly and said with a smile, Ling Xiao, while you were back in the capital, your uncle was in closed-door cultivation. Don't be angry that I didn't see you. When he thought about how Ling Xiao had returned to the Demon King's residence alone, defeated Ling Tianxi, suppressed Shi Tianluo, challenged the Myriad Beasts sect, shone brightly in the capital, and was even hunted down by the underworld, Ling Juechen blushed with shame. After all, when Ling Zhen was still around, Ling Juechen could be said to be Ling Zhen's best friend. However, Ling Juechen had not taken good care of his old friend's son. Ling Zhao's talent had also shocked him. Not only was his martial talent extraordinary, but he also had such monstrous talent in the Tao of Pills. Compared to Ling Xiao, even Zhao Ritian paled in comparison. What are you saying, uncle? If not for your secret intimidation, that old thing He Qing would have shamelessly tried to assassinate me long ago. Ling Xiao can't thank you enough. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Although Spiritual Master Chun Yang had come on the day of the year-end competition, it was because of Master Jiao Mu. The one who truly made He Qing feel apprehensive was Ling Juechen. After some small talk, Ling Xiao found out that he had been sitting in the great solar spiritual realm for 3 days and 3 nights. Xia Yan, Zhao Ritian, Xia Hongxiu, and the others had already left. Zhao Ritian, in particular, was unconvinced. Before he left, he even said that he would find time to teach Ling Xiao a lesson. After passing the 3 tests of the Alchemist Conference, what shocked the alchemists of the capital was that Ling Zhao's talent in the Tao of Pills was not inferior to his martial talent. In fact, it was even more terrifying. To be able to defeat the number 1 genius of the 8 Desolates region, Zhao Ritian, made everyone feel that Ling Xiao was unfathomable. Jiao Mu has already returned. Young friend Ling, I believe you have many questions about this alchemist conference, right? Actually, this alchemist conference is prepared for the sake of refining the soul returning pill. Spiritual Master Chun Yang smiled faintly and revealed his true motive. That's right. Ling Xiao, I still have to thank you for helping Qingqing bid for the soul returning grass at the last auction, as well as the miner's soul refining technique you gave us. It was only because of this that spiritual master Chun Yang and I were able to break through to the realm of peerless alchemy masters. I believe you know about the resurrection elixir. We got the recipe from an ancient relic. Because it's related to the secret of breaking through from the celestial realm to the noble realm, we can't let the people from the Sun Moon sect and the Thousand Beasts sect know about it. However, although the soul returning pill is only a peerless alchemy pill, it contains the power of heaven and earth. Even if spiritual master Chun Yang and I work together, we might still fail. However, in the ancient pill formula we obtained, there was a note that recorded the method of refining the soul-returning pill with a pure yang primordial spirit, as well as the method of testing a pure yang primordial spirit. That is why today's alchemist conference was held. Ling Ju-chen explained the purpose of the alchemist conference. Although Ling Xiao had already guessed it, he still pretended to be enlightened. I see. So you think I am a pure yang primordial spirit? A strange look appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. He hadn't expected to make such a big mistake in refining the yang soul stone. Those born with a pure yang primordial spirit were the favored children of heaven and earth. How could someone with great fortune appear in a place like the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom? If they followed the method of testing, even if Ling Ju-chen and spiritual master Chun Yang checked all the alchemists, they would probably be disappointed. They hadn't expected that a blind cat would run into a dead mouse and run into Ling Xiao. Tui tui tui, what dead mouse, Ling Xiao thought to himself. At the same time, he was curious about the ancient pill formula that Ling Ju-chen and spiritual master Chun Yang had obtained. Can you let me see the soul-returning pill formula? Chapter 233. In the secret chamber of the Celestial Master Hall, Ling Xiao saw the recipe for the soul return pill. To be more precise, it was an ancient piece of jade that could be preserved for countless years after being imprinted with spiritual energy. Soul return grass, jade crystal, golden soul fruit. This is indeed the recipe for the soul return pill. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he thought to himself. Moreover, he sensed a familiar aura from the ancient jade. The information about the pure yang primordial spirit in the handwritten letter was actually left behind by a senior from the Changshan sect. It was at least 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. Where did you get this ancient jade? Ling Xiao suppressed his excitement and asked Pure Yang spiritual master and Ling Juechen. We found this ancient jade in one of the mystical grounds. Unfortunately, the secret realm was enveloped by a powerful seal, and we couldn't break the seal at all. We only managed to obtain some treasures from the periphery, and one of them was this piece of ancient jade. Ling Juechen didn't hide anything from Ling Xiao and smiled. Secret realm? Ling Xiao's lips curled up. If he guessed correctly, the secret realm that Ling Juechen and Pure Yang spiritual master were talking about was the longevity secret realm. The longevity secret realm was a space that Ling Xiao and Jin Se had created together. It was a training ground for the disciples of the Changshan sect and contained many treasures of the Changshan sect. After 10,000 years, the Changshan sect had weakened to such a state. Not only was the Epiphany tree almost destroyed, but the longevity secret realm was also missing. Ling Xiao had planned to relocate the longevity secret realm after he became stronger and take the treasures inside to strengthen the Changshan sect. However, he didn't expect to sense the aura of the longevity secret realm from the ancient jade. The secret realm is in the Beast Mountain range, but the seal is too powerful and can't be broken. Most people don't know about this. Only me, Zhu Chen, and His Majesty know about this. We all speculate that perhaps only by breaking through to the noble plane can we break through the seal. That's why we want to refine the soul returning pill as soon as possible. If a treasure like the soul return pill can be found in the outer area, the secret realm must be extraordinary. However, we're also afraid that things will change over time, so we want to refine the soul return pill as soon as possible to reach the noble realm. Sage Pure Yang said slowly. If I follow the ancient jade's method of refining the soul return pill, there shouldn't be any problems. When do you plan to start refining pills? Ling Xiao nodded and asked. Of course, the sooner the better. All the spirit herbs have been prepared. If you feel ready, then we can begin now. A hint of urgency appeared in Zhu Chen's eyes. Good. I'm fine with it, Ling Xiao said with a smile. The method recorded in the ancient jade was actually very simple. The pure yang primordial spirit was favored by the fate of heaven and earth. It contained pure yang divine power and had a mysterious connection with heaven and earth. It could communicate with the will of heaven and earth and infuse it into the resurrection pill. Therefore, the pure yang primordial spirit was equivalent to a medium. It poured the will of heaven and earth into the essence of the spirit medicine, and finally condensed the true soul return pill. If there was a true alchemy grandmaster who could communicate with the will of heaven and earth and refine the soul returning pill with supreme power, it wouldn't be so troublesome. In Ling Xiao's opinion, if Zhu Chen and Sage Pure Yang wanted to refine the soul return pill, the pure yang primordial spirit method was the correct choice. Unfortunately, Ling Xiao didn't have a pure yang primordial spirit, so this method wouldn't work for him. However, I have a request. Ling Xiao looked at Zhu Chen and Sage Pure Yang and said. What request? The soul return pill must be refined by me. The two of you mustn't interfere. Otherwise, we'll definitely fail. Ling Xiao said resolutely. What? You'll refine it? Zhu Chen and Sage Pure Yang were stunned, and a trace of shock appeared in their eyes. No. Ling Xiao, you don't know, but the spirit herbs for the soul return pill are too precious. We've been searching for them for a long time, but we've only managed to gather 2 portions. If you fail, then we won't have the slightest chance. Don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Zhu Chen hurriedly shook his head in refusal. What a joke. Zhu Chen and Sage Pure Yang were both peerless alchemy grandmasters, but even they weren't confident in refining the soul return pill. No matter how talented Ling Xiao was, he definitely couldn't compare to the two of them. Boom! At that moment, Ling Xiao's body emitted a mighty spiritual wave. It was as vast and majestic as the ocean, and incomparably pure. This is the spiritual power of a high-grade alchemy grandmaster. Sage Pure Yang's body trembled, and his originally calm expression changed. His eyes were filled with shock. This spiritual power was so majestic and pure that even a peerless alchemy grandmaster like him felt slightly suppressed. Although Ling Xiao's spiritual power was only at the level of a high-grade alchemy grandmaster, it was incomparably pure, without the slightest impurity. It was even purer than that of a peerless alchemy grandmaster. But how old was Ling Xiao? A 16-year-old youth was actually stronger than an old man like him, who had lived for over 100 years. How was he supposed to live? Even if Ling Xiao had started cultivating alchemy in his mother's womb, he probably wouldn't have such terrifying spiritual power. You brat! You're really a monster. Zhu Chen's face was also filled with shock. In the end, he laughed bitterly. Ling Xiao, tell me honestly. For you to undergo such a terrifying transformation in just 3 years, did you become the disciple of some incredible person? And a treasure like the miner's soul refining technique isn't something that just anyone can take out. Zhu Chen asked, looking deeply at Ling Xiao. That's right. Ling Xiao nodded and smiled. I naturally couldn't have such good fortune in the longevity sect. A year ago, I met an old man with a white beard. He said that my spiritual power was naturally strong and was suitable for alchemy, so he imparted all of his alchemy knowledge to me. The miner's soul refining technique was also imparted to me by him. Furthermore, he even refined a supreme Tao pill for me to cleanse my marrow. That's why I was able to be reborn, and my cultivation soared by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. Ling Xiao spouted nonsense, following Zhu Chen's words and pushing all the blame to that groundless master of his. As expected. Ling Zhu Chen and Sage Pure Yang looked at each other and nodded inwardly. If he didn't have a complete inheritance, no matter how monstrous Ling Xiao's talent was, it would be impossible for him to undergo such a huge transformation in such a short period of time. And Ling Xiao possessed a pure yang primordial spirit, so it was reasonable for that senior to think highly of him. Although Ling Ju Chen and Sage Pure Yang didn't really understand the meaning of a pure yang primordial spirit, they knew that those who possessed a pure yang primordial spirit were definitely 1 in a million. It was no small matter. A supreme Tao pill that cleanses one's marrow. That senior must be a peerless alchemy master. I wonder what his title is. Chapter 234. Master didn't tell me his name, but he usually likes to drink and has a huge gourd hanging from his waist. He doesn't seem very dignified and likes good wine and good food. He roams the world and his whereabouts are uncertain. Master only told me that he would come and find me when the time is right. Ling Xiao spouted nonsense, directly following Master Chun Yang's words. In any case, Master Chun Yang couldn't possibly find that groundless master to verify it. A grandmaster alchemist with a huge gourd hanging from his waist and who likes good wine and good food? Could it be that person? Master Chun Yang's body trembled, and a trace of excitement appeared in his eyes. Who is it? Ju Qin asked doubtfully. Do you remember the muddle-headed old man I told you about before? A few decades ago, it was under his guidance that I broke through to become a high-grade Grandmaster Alchemist. He's the most mysterious Grandmaster Alchemist in the entire 8 Desolates region, and you could say that he's the strongest Grandmaster Alchemist. I once saw him refine a supreme-grade pill with the fire in his palm without using a pill cauldron. Master Chun Yang seemed a little excited as he took a deep breath. Coincidentally, the muddle-headed old man also likes good wine and good food. He has a huge gourd hanging from his waist and likes to travel everywhere. I only saw him once. It's actually the muddle-headed old man. No wonder you changed so much, Ling Xiao. It's really your fortune to be valued by him. Ju Qin also became excited at the mention of the muddle-headed old man. He looked at Ling Xiao with envy. It was said that the muddle-headed old man had become a Grandmaster Alchemist 100 years ago. He was the most mysterious person in the entire 8 Desolates region. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would take him as his master? Even Master Chun Yang and Ling Ju Chen were a little envious of such a great fortune. The muddle-headed old man. What the hell? There's actually such a person. Ling Xiao's expression was a little strange as he thought to himself. He didn't think that a random person he made up would be mistaken by Master Chun Yang. However, Ling Xiao was also a little curious about Master Chun Yang. In the 8 Desolates region, anyone who could break through to become a Grandmaster Alchemist was definitely an outstanding person. My master once told me that I have a pure yang primordial spirit and that I'm blessed by the heavens and earth. Therefore, even though I'm only an upper-grade alchemy master, I'm still stronger than many peerless-grade alchemy masters. I don't dare to say anything else, but if it's refining the soul-returning pill, my chances will still be higher because I've seen Master refine the soul-returning pill before. Ling Xiao said with a smile. There was a hint of pride in his eyes. Although he was only an upper-level alchemist, Ling Xiao had the insight and realm of a supreme alchemist. He still had a certain degree of confidence in refining the resurrection pill. Since that's the case, I'll leave Ling Xiao to you. Ling Ju Chen and Taoist Master Pure Yang exchanged a glance, and in the end, they both agreed. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Ling Xiao smiled and heaved a sigh of relief. The reason why he wanted to concoct the resurrection pill himself was because it was extremely special. The difficulty of concocting a supreme-grade treasure pill was comparable to a supreme-grade Tao pill. Most importantly, when concocting the pill, the will of the heavens and earth would descend. The will of the heavens and earth could cleanse one's soul and refine the yin energy. So how could Ling Xiao miss such an opportunity? Moreover, if Ling Ju Chen and Taoist Master Pure Yang were to concoct the resurrection pill, they would definitely fail with Ling Xiao's fake Yang Yuan spirit. It's actually a supreme-grade treasure artifact. Uncle Ling, this pill cauldron of yours is pretty good. Ling Xiao said with a smile when he saw the purple pill cauldron in the center of the secret chamber. The pill cauldron was over 3 feet tall, with 3 legs and 2 handles. It was round and simple, and there was a faint ancient aura around it. Runes covered the cauldron, and purple light was abundant. The medicinal fragrance was very faint, but it was very pure. There were 2 ancient characters carved on the cauldron. Purple Dawn. It was a supreme grade treasure Purple Dawn cauldron. Ling Xiao could tell with a single glance that this Purple Dawn cauldron was at least 1,000 years old. Ling Ju Chen had probably obtained it from the ruins. I also obtained this from the secret realm. Ling Xiao, take a look and see if it's convenient. Ling Ju Chen said with a smile. A trace of curiosity appeared in both his and Sage Pure Yang's eyes. Although Ling Xiao's master was very likely a muddle-headed old man, they had never seen Ling Xiao's level of alchemy before. They couldn't help but be curious and worried. All right. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and walked to the Purple Dawn cauldron, then struck out with his palm. Wang! The Purple Dawn cauldron let out a crisp hum and immediately stood up. Ling Xiao's palm was like the wind, constantly striking various parts of the Purple Dawn cauldron. The Purple Dawn cauldron continued to let out sounds, and in the end, a layer of purple light spread out, appearing incomparably pure. Boom! Purple light spewed out from the mouth of the cauldron, rising over 3 feet into the air. The entire secret chamber was illuminated by the purple light. 3 feet and 6 inches of purple light. It can be considered an excellent pill cauldron. Not bad. Ling Xiao said with a nod. This is the art of shaking cauldron. Sage Pure Yang's eyes flashed. Seeing Ling Xiao's move, his gaze instantly became serious. The art of shaking cauldron was a technique used by pill refiners to examine the sound, color, structure, and runes of a pill cauldron. It was extremely difficult to cultivate, and although Sage Pure Yang also knew it, he couldn't do it as easily as Ling Xiao. Seeing Ling Xiao's move, Sage Pure Yang and Ling Ju Chen immediately looked at Ling Xiao with solemn expressions. Very good, let's begin. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and immediately sat down cross-legged in front of the Purple Dawn cauldron. Refining the soul-returning pill required a total of over 100 types of spirit herbs, most of which were incomparably precious and peerless spirit herbs. In order to collect these spirit herbs, Ling Ju Chen and Sage Pure Yang had put in a lot of effort. Every spirit herb was stored in a warm jade box, which could effectively seal the spirit energy and prevent the essence of the spirit herbs from leaking out. Rise! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and a scarlet light shot out from his mouth. Like a flaming dragon, it instantly enveloped the Purple Dawn cauldron. Wang! The Purple Dawn cauldron trembled slightly and immediately rose from the ground, emitting a hum. Purple light filled the air, and the runes on the cauldron were instantly activated by Ling Xiao, beginning to slowly rotate. The 5-colored true devouring fire flowed out of Ling Xiao's body, forming a 5-colored screen of light that enveloped the Purple Dawn cauldron. This is a heaven and earth spirit fire. Sage Pure Yang and Ling Ju Chen's eyes widened at the sight of Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring fire. The two of them had also refined a type of earth fire, so they were naturally very familiar with heaven and earth spirit fire. It hasn't reached the level of a heaven flame yet. But it's still a top-grade earth fire, much better than the ones we refined. It seems like the muddle-headed old man also gave it to him. Ling Ju Chen sighed. At this moment, the true devouring fire was flowing with 5 colors, and there was a faint trace of a heaven flame's aura. This was because it had swallowed and refined the blazing sun sky fire seed, and there was a faint trace of a powerful heaven's might. Ling Xiao knew that this was the beginning of the true devouring fire's transformation. As long as it continued to devour powerful heaven and earth spirit fire or supreme fire attribute treasures, it would quickly rise to the level of a heaven flame. Surrounded by the true devouring fire, the Purple Dawn cauldron trembled, and purple chi surged. Multicolored light gushed out of the cauldron's mouth, as if it was surrounded by a river of stars. It was incomparably beautiful and resplendent. Refine. Ling Xiao shouted a single word, and hundreds of spirit herbs floated out of the jade box, turning into streaks of light that flew into the purple dawn cauldron. What? Ling Juchen and Sage Pure Yang's expressions changed drastically. Chapter 235. Ling Juchen and Spiritual Master Pure Sun had never seen Ling Xiao refine pills before, so when they saw Ling Xiao throw all the spiritual herbs into the cauldron, their expressions changed instantly. One had to know that although the two of them were peerless alchemists, they still refined spiritual herbs one by one. How could they be like Ling Xiao, who threw all the spiritual herbs into the cauldron at once? Spiritual herbs all had different attributes. If different spiritual herbs were mixed together without special methods, the cauldron would easily explode. Not to mention, with so many spiritual herbs mixed together, the cauldron would definitely explode. Ling Juchen and Spiritual Master Pure Sun smiled bitterly. It seemed like this cauldron of soul-returning pills was finished. But in the next moment, the two of them were stunned. Inside the purple cloud cauldron, purple light surged, as dazzling as the galaxy. Hundreds of spiritual herbs fell into the purple cloud cauldron and were swept up by the true devouring fire, instantly turning into pure spiritual herb essence. Like stars, they fell into the purple cloud cauldron. Huge stars rotated, all formed from spiritual herb essence. The purple cloud cauldron seemed to have turned into a galaxy world. The spiritual herb essences of different attributes rotated, and wisps of medicinal fragrance filled the air, forming a strange balance between them. There was no sign of the cauldron exploding at all. Seeing this scene, Ju Chen and Spiritual Master Pure Sun were dumbfounded. They had never heard of anyone being able to refine hundreds of spiritual herbs at once. This was simply a miracle. Roar! 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 5 clear dragon roars rang out, and in the purple galaxy world, the true devouring fire's 5-colored light spread out. In an instant, it split into 5 flame dragons, white, green, black, red, and yellow, and rushed into the galaxy world. Boom! The purple cloud cauldron instantly exploded. Endless divine light gushed out, and the huge stars formed from spiritual herb essences actually exploded at this moment. A storm swept out in all directions, dazzling everyone. The 5 flame dragons weaved in the storm, and wisps of fiery light lingered, turning into mysterious runes that merged with the spiritual herb essences. It was as if lightning had exploded, and all the spiritual herb essences gathered together, finally turning into an incomparably resplendent spiritual pearl. The 5 flame dragons revolved around the spiritual pearl, and constantly spewed out 5-colored flames that merged with the pearl. 5 dragons playing with pearls. This was the fire-controlling technique that Ling Xiao had comprehended after the heaven-devouring spirit seed was perfected. It used the power of creation to nurture the essence of spirit herbs and refine supreme treasure pills. Although the attributes of the hundreds of spiritual herbs were different, they were tempered by the true devouring fire and formed a miraculous balance. This way, not only did it greatly reduce the time needed to refine the spirit medicine, but the refined spirit medicine essence would also be purer. It's the 5 dragons playing with pearls technique? Looks like this 5 dragons playing with pearls technique was also taught to him by the muddle-headed old man. Spiritual Master Pure Yang's body trembled, and a hint of shock appeared in his eyes. Then, it was replaced by envy and passion. The 9 dragons playing with pearls and 10 suns across the sky were the 2 most powerful fire-controlling techniques in the world. They were created by the sky-devouring Supreme and the medicine Celestial Venerable 10,000 years ago. These 2 great fire-controlling techniques were the dream fire-controlling techniques of almost every alchemist in the world. Now that they saw this legendary fire-controlling technique, Ju Chen and Spiritual Master Pure Yang felt that it was unreal. Looks like we've really underestimated Ling Xiao. If he can't refine the soul-returning pill, the two of us have even less hope. Ju Chen's eyes revealed a hint of regret. Buzz! The purple cloud cauldron buzzed and trembled. The spirit bead was dazzling like the sun, emitting a mysterious light. 5 fire dragons circled around it, constantly spitting out fiery light that merged into the spirit bead. The spirit bead's medicinal fragrance was rich, and mysterious runes began to spread out. This was the process of nurturing the pill, nurturing the spirit of the pill and nurturing the essence of the pill. If it was an ordinary spirit pill, this process might be completed very quickly. However, the soul-returning pill was no ordinary spirit pill. The soul-returning pill here didn't refer to the resurrection of one's soul after death. Instead, it referred to the fusion of one's soul with heaven and earth, returning to one's origin and fusing with the will of heaven and earth to become a supreme noble. The spirit bead's light became more and more resplendent. Ling Xiao focused all his mental energy on the spirit bead in front of him. His hands formed seals continuously, guiding the 5 fire dragons to nurture the essence of the spirit medicine. The process of nurturing the pill lasted for 3 days. After 3 days without sleep and rest, even with Ling Xiao's strong mental energy, he was still somewhat haggard and exhausted. 2 dark circles appeared under his eyes, but he was still incomparably excited. This was the first time Ling Xiao had gone all out to refine a treasure pill since his rebirth. A special pill like the soul-returning pill had stimulated his fighting spirit. The spirit bead in the purple cloud cauldron had become incomparably hot, like a rising sun, dazzling and resplendent. 3 days ago, the spirit bead was only the size of a longan, but now it was the size of a human head. It floated up and down in the purple cloud cauldron, emitting purple smoke and surrounded by 5 dragons, looking incomparably mysterious. This caused Zhu Chen and Chunyang's spiritual master to watch for 3 days and 3 nights. In these 3 days, they had benefited greatly from the process of Ling Xiao refining the soul-returning pill, and their admiration for Ling Xiao grew. Rumble. Suddenly, the spirit bead in the purple cloud cauldron swelled to its limit. Runes filled it, and flames rose. In an instant, it exploded. Boom! Ling Xiao struck out with his palm, and it was like a divine mountain pressing down. The divine light was enveloped by a barrier, and as the 5 dragons slowly dissipated, it faintly transformed into a mysterious flowing liquid. It was sparkling and translucent, untainted by even a speck of dust, like nectar. Condense! Ling Xiao roared, and his eyes flashed. Several runes instantly flew out of his palm and fused into the liquid. Then, the purple cloud cauldron shone brightly, and 9 resplendent streaks of light shot into the sky. Rumble. At the same time, the void also trembled. Thunder seemed to explode in the sky, and dark clouds covered the sky. A mysterious power, accompanied by a strange light, descended from the inexplicable void and rushed toward the 9 streams of light. Is this the power of the will of the world? Looks like the pill will be formed soon. Zhu Chen and Chunyang's spiritual master were shocked, and their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. Rumble. The mysterious energy contained a vast heavenly might. It was powerful, mysterious, and incomparably majestic. It slowly enveloped the 9 streaks of light, and at the same time, enveloped Ling Xiao. A good chance. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly used the heaven-devouring secret technique to devour the mysterious will. Rumble. The power of the will of the world was formless and formless. It was formed by a mysterious law, and Ling Xiao guided it to himself. There, his majestic spiritual sea began to boil. Strands of Yin's soul energy were refined, and his spiritual power began to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye. Ling Xiao felt comfortable all over, as if he was soaking in a hot spring. It was warm and comfortable, and all the pores on his body opened up. It was indescribably comfortable. He felt that in this short period of time, another 1% of his Yin's soul energy had been refined, and his spiritual sea had begun to surge. Chapter 236. What a pity! If it could last for 2 hours, I might have been able to cultivate the pure yang primordial spirit earlier. Ling Xiao sighed as a look of pity appeared in his eyes. However, this was already a huge gain. Just this short moment of absorbing the will of heaven and earth saved Ling Xiao a lot of trouble when breaking through to the noble realm. Whoosh! 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 After absorbing the will of heaven and earth, the 9 streams of light in the sky became simple and dull. However, they gained a lot of spirituality and wanted to fly away. Come back! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he grabbed the air. The 9 streams of light turned into 9 pills the size of a longan and flew into the Zixia cauldron. Boom! The Zixia cauldron shone brightly and then slowly quieted down. A mysterious force began to grow in the Zixia cauldron, growing stronger and stronger. I've finally succeeded. Once the willpower in these 9 soul return pills is completely refined, the soul return pills can be consumed. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief and stood up slowly. A feeling of extreme exhaustion washed over him. The will of heaven and earth was extremely mysterious. Although it had been integrated into the soul return pills, it still needed to be nurtured in the cauldron to completely digest the will of heaven and earth. Within the Zixia cauldron, purple gas could be seen boiling. The 9 longan-sized soul return pills emitted a golden light, like the brightest of night pearls. They floated up and down within the cauldron, absorbing spiritual essence. Furthermore, there were traces of mysterious force flowing on the surface of the soul return pills. It was very strange. It really is the soul return pill. It's exactly as recorded in the recipe. My friend, thank you so much. Pure Yang's spiritual master's eyes were filled with excitement. He then took a deep breath and said to Ling Xiao solemnly, Ling Xiao, don't worry. With these soul return pills, we'll definitely be able to break through to the noble realm. You'll have a battle to the death with the Wanshou sect in 20 days. If those bastards dare to go back on their word, I won't let them off. Ling Juchen's eyes shone with a sharp light as he smiled. After breaking through to the noble realm, he would have the combat strength to look down on the 8 Desolates region. By then, even the Wanshou sect would have to treat him with caution. After all, there were too few noble realm experts in the 8 Desolation region. Even in the 5 major martial arts holy lands, there were not many. You're welcome. I'll have to trouble you guys for the next pill gestation process. I can't hold on any longer. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He felt exhausted all over. His spiritual energy was almost completely depleted, and even walking was a little shaky. After all, as an upper-grade alchemy grandmaster, he had spent too much effort to refine the supreme-grade soul-restoring pill. He had already reached his limit. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged on the bed in the secret room. He took out the spirit crystals and began to regulate his breathing and cultivate. Rolling spirit qi enveloped him. His spirit observed the void and began to recover bit by bit. Only after a day and a night did Ling Xiao completely recover. His eyes regained their clarity. Within the secret chamber, Ling Juchen and Master Pure Yang stared at the soul return pill in the purple cloud cauldron with dark circles under their eyes. They were extremely excited. I've already fused a small part of it. It seems that in 2 or 3 days, the soul returning pill will be ready. Ling Xiao looked at the situation in the Zixia cauldron and smiled. Ling Xiao, you're awake. Just nice, I have something to tell you. His Majesty wants to see you. Ling Juchen looked at Ling Xiao and smiled faintly. The king of the great wilderness, Xia Huang. Ling Xiao was taken aback. His eyes glinted. He didn't have a good impression of this king of the great wilderness. Ling Zhen was known as Xia Huang's right-hand man when he was alive. He had contributed greatly to the expansion of the great wilderness ancient country. However, after Ling Zhen's disappearance, not only did Xia Huang not let Ling Xiao inherit the title of demon-subduing monarch, he even ignored him. This caused Ling Xiao to suffer greatly in the past 3 years. That was why Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi were so arrogant and despotic. If Ling Xiao hadn't awakened his innate intelligence and taken over his body with the true spirit of the heaven-devouring supreme, he would have been killed long ago. Hence, half of the blame for Ling Xiao's previous predicament was Xia Huang. Ling Xiao, don't blame His Majesty. These 3 years, His Majesty has always been in closed-door cultivation. The court affairs have always been handled by the first prince and the 9th prince together. Hence, the matter of demons subduing monarch's title should be decided by the first prince privately. He doesn't know either. Ling Juchen knew what Ling Xiao was thinking and sighed softly. Doesn't know? He's the dignified king of the great wilderness. Even if he's in closed-door cultivation, how can he possibly not know anything about the major matters in the court? I think it's not that he doesn't know, but that he doesn't want to know, right? No matter, I also want to see this king of the great wilderness anyway. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. A trace of sharpness flickered in his eyes. Sigh. Ling Xiao, your personality is the same as your father. Also so stubborn. Qingqing is waiting for you outside. You go to the great wilderness hall with her. His Majesty is waiting for you there. Ling Juchen said with a bitter smile. He knew the knot in Ling Xiao's heart, but he didn't know how to console Ling Xiao either. After all, Xia Huang was indeed in the wrong in this matter. Ling Xiao nodded and turned to leave the secret chamber. Outside the Celestial Master Hall, a beautiful figure in green appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Dressed in a green dress, her figure was very tall and slender. Her curves were exquisite, and she was very voluptuous. Her skin was snow-white and translucent, and her long black hair was tied behind her head. Her face was very exquisite, especially that pair of large soul-stealing eyes. It made people feel as if their souls were hooked the moment they saw them. Every time he saw Ling Qingqing, Ling Xiao couldn't help but think of the words, the world's stunner. Ling Qingqing's charm was already enchanting to the bones. Every move she made exuded a charm that made people's hearts sway. Oh, isn't this our master Ling Xiao? I didn't expect that you hid your abilities so well. You're actually also an alchemy master. How dare you lie to elder sister, you're itching for a beating, aren't you? The moment Ling Qingqing saw Ling Xiao, she immediately smiled slightly. But there was a trace of ill intent in her smile. Ling Xiao immediately sweated and hurriedly said, Elder sister Qingqing, how would I dare to lie to you? Didn't you not ask either? Moreover, I, Ling Xiao, am a heaven-blessed martial artist. Not only do I possess peerless martial arts, but I'm also an alchemy, artifact, and formation master. I'm known as a godlike man. What's a mere alchemy worth? Ling Xiao pretended to be arrogant and said very cockily. A godlike man? Will you die if you don't brag? Ling Qingqing couldn't help but burst into laughter. Then, she rolled her eyes at Ling Xiao, exuding boundless charm. However, I really didn't expect that you could actually refine the resurrection pill. If my father didn't say that your mental strength is more special, I would really think that your alchemy skills have surpassed my father and immortal Chunyang. Compared to you, that sun-moon-star sex Zhao Ritian is just trash. Ling Qingqing's eyes revealed a trace of shock as she lamented. The young man in front of her was becoming more and more unfathomable. He was clearly a 16-year-old young man, but he was so monstrous. Chapter 237. Sister Qingqing, why does Xia Huang want to see me? Ling Xiao looked at Ling Qingqing and asked slowly. I don't know the exact reason, but it should be related to the 8 Desolation secret area. Ling Qingqing said. 8 Desolation secret area. Ling Xiao's eyes showed a trace of doubt. It is said that 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolation region suffered a great calamity. At that time, there were 8 ancient kingdoms in the 8 Desolation region. They were Heaven, Earth, Xian, Huang, Yu, Zhou, Flood and Desolation. The calamity lasted for a long time. It is said that the 8 Desolation region was destroyed. After the calamity, the 4 strongest ancient kingdoms, Xian Ancient Kingdom, Huang Ancient Kingdom, Great Flood Ancient Kingdom and Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom were left. Ling Qingqing's eyes showed a trace of emotion. She said, "It is said that 10,000 years ago, the 8 ancient kingdoms were the rulers of the 8 Desolation region. There were countless royal marquises and royal realm experts. It is said that there was even a supreme realm expert. However, that great calamity not only caused the destruction of the 4 great ancient countries, but also caused the remaining 4 great ancient countries to decline to the extreme. They did not even have a noble realm expert, and the so-called 5 great martial holy lands were only sects that had risen in recent years. The 8 Desolation secret area is a place left behind by the calamity 10,000 years ago. It contains the inheritance and treasures of the 4 ancient kingdoms and countless mysterious places. The calamity 10,000 years ago. Ling Xiao's eyes showed a trace of contemplation. The calamity should have happened after his death, but what was it? Could it be the supreme true dragon? Ling Xiao felt that the past 10,000 years were shrouded in layers of fog. The supreme true dragon, Jin Sei, and his disciples were nowhere to be found. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. Since the 8 Desolation secret area exists, why are the 4 ancient kingdoms still in such dire straits? Ling Xiao asked. The 8 Desolation secret area can be said to be the battlefield of that calamity. Although there are inheritances of the 4 ancient kingdoms, there are not many of them. Most of them have been divided among the martial holy lands. 10,000 years have passed, but there is nothing useful left behind. Ling Qingqing said with a wry smile. If it was not for the inheritances and treasures in the 8 Desolation secret area, the martial holy lands would not have risen so quickly. If that's the case, then wouldn't the 8 Desolate Mystery Land be a wasteland? You could say that. However, in the Ba Huang secret territory, there is a place called the Yin-Yang Valley. It contains pure yin-yang baleful qi, and every 10 years, it can help dragon tiger layer cultivators to break through to the Zong Master Realm. It can also help Zong Master Realm cultivators to break through to the Zong Master Realm. Only this place is in the hands of the 4 great ancient nations. I suspect that the king is looking for you because he wants you to enter the Yin-Yang Valley. Ling Qingqing said slowly. Yin-Yang Valley. Ling Xiao's eyes glinted. The two of them chatted as they walked. They passed through many palace avenues and finally arrived in front of an ancient and weathered black palace. The Great Desolate Hall. It was an important place for the Great Desolate Emperor to deal with state affairs and rule the world. Ling Xiao did not expect that Xia Huang would choose to meet him in the Great Desolate Hall. Outside the Great Desolate Hall, there were 2 rows of soldiers in black armor. Their auras were heavy and terrifying. Their eyes were cold and they exuded a baleful qi. Their auras intertwined, making the Great Desolate Hall look even more solemn. Go in. The king is waiting for you inside. Remember, don't be so stubborn. After all, the king is the king. Ling Qingqing glanced at Ling Xiao and instructed. Don't worry, Sister Qingqing. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and walked up the high stone steps to the Great Desolate Hall. The 2 dignified armored soldiers on both sides stared at Ling Xiao. Their gazes were cold and indifferent, just like the edge of a blade. However, Ling Xiao did not seem to notice. His expression was still calm as he slowly walked up the 81 stone steps and stood in front of the Great Desolate Hall. Ling Xiao, come in. A deep and majestic voice sounded. The 2 doors of the Great Desolate Hall slowly opened. Ling Xiao's expression was indifferent as he stepped in. Boom! The doors closed again. The Great Desolate Hall was brightly lit and very spacious. However, it was very empty at this moment. There was only one person sitting on the huge dragon throne. It was a middle-aged man in a black dragon robe and a flat imperial crown. He exuded a domineering aura that could shake the world. He was very tall and seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes and there was a faint divine glow in them. He sat on the dragon throne and looked down at Ling Xiao. The majesty in his eyes made people want to kneel down. This was the aura of someone who had been in a high position for a long time. This was the ruler of the Great Desolate Ancient Kingdom. Xia Huang. Ling Xiao looked straight at Xia Huang. His expression was calm and indifferent, as if he was not affected by Xia Huang's aura at all. I heard that you were the one who refined the soul-returning elixir. You're not bad. Xia Huang's eyes revealed a trace of admiration as he slowly stood up from the dragon throne. Ling Xiao could sense that Xia Huang was at the peak of the 9th level of the sky-human realm, like Ling Juechen and Pure Yang spiritual master. However, even if Ling Juechen and Pure Yang spiritual master worked together, they were still no match for Xia Huang. This was because Xia Huang had the aura of the dragon vein. The great desolate ancient kingdom had existed for tens of thousands of years mainly because of the dragon vein. Xia Huang could mobilize the power of the dragon vein. Therefore, even if he was only at the 9th level of the sky-human realm, he could still unleash the combat strength of a noble. However, the dragon vein also restrained Xia Huang at the same time. This was because a noble needed to reflect the heart of the heavens and comprehend the power of the will of the heavens and earth. They were not limited by physical objects and could do as they pleased. However, because Xia Huang had been under the influence of the dragon vein for a long time, it was extremely difficult for him to comprehend the power of the will of the heavens and earth on his own. Therefore, the person who needed the soul-returning elixir the most was Xia Huang. Your Majesty, you're too kind. I was just lucky. May I know why your Majesty has summoned me? Ling Xiao said indifferently. Xia Huang looked straight at Ling Xiao for a moment and smiled. You're just like Ling Zhen when he was young. There's a kind of arrogance in your bones. However, your appearance is very similar to your mother. Xia Huang's voice was very soft. The powerful aura disappeared and he became very calm. There was a trace of nostalgia in his voice. My mother. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. You must be blaming me for not caring about you for the past 3 years, right? If I told you that I didn't let you inherit the title of Demon Lord because I wanted to protect you, would you believe me? Xia Huang looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly. Protect me. Ling Xiao was stunned. Perhaps you know a little about your mother. However, you don't know what your mother represents. It's a terrifying force that can shatter the universe. Xia Huang sighed softly. There was a slight fluctuation in his eyes, as if he was afraid and shocked. My mother. There's a powerful force behind her. How could it make you feel afraid? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.